You're under arrest for the murder of William and Hilda Stone.
Everything is going according to plan.
These tests can't be right. Run them again. I can't be.
Lori, I can't do this. I can't let you get hurt.
Jacob, if you keep trying to get Nyla out, you might end up in there with her.
The Stone Empire is crumbling.
Your family got her into this, Jacob. Fix it.
Jacob, what are we going to do?
We're gonna fight like hell. Say less, I love you. Season 4, Episode 9.
Chapter 347, Nyla. I wake to the hushed rattle of a medication cart rolling along the hallway outside my hospital room. For a heartbeat, I forget where I am, disoriented by the stiff mattress beneath me and the antiseptic smell clinging to the back of my throat. Then my senses sharpen. I'm at Crestwood Hospital. I'm no longer an inmate at Stonebridge Correctional, but I'm far from free in any real sense. There's a guard by the door, a half-tension in the air, and a swirl of dread in my belly that tightens whenever I recall why I'm here. Something aches just behind my eyes, a combination of poor sleep and raw churning anxiety. I blink, noticing the slivers of early morning light falling across my sheets. My phone rests on the rolling bedside tray, screen face down as though it's hiding from me. If I pick it up, I'll see unread messages from Margaret or from other worried friends. I'll stare at them, read them, reread them, and still feel the same pounding dread inside. Maybe not picking it up is best, but I can't let the day pass without looking. So I reach over and flip the phone face up with my fingertips. Immediately my chest squeezes. There's a text from Margaret waiting. The forensic team's nearly done. They're 99% sure Trixa's orchard sabotage logs are legit. We'll confirm soon. Hang tight. A shaky breath seeps out of me. This is what I've been praying for. Final proof that I was never the saboteur, that everything Marcus pinned on me was a monstrous lie. If the experts sign off, tomorrow's hearing could be the final blow against the prosecution's entire case. And yet, what if it all collapses at the last second? I've seen illusions rip themselves apart right when I felt safest. My heart thumps uncomfortably as I read Margaret's message a second time. The word legit leaps out. A promise that maybe I'll walk out of this hospital with charges dropped, my name cleared. The tension that's defined my life for months flutters inside me like a cornered bird. I want to rejoice, but dread keeps me pinned. Because I know, the more cornered Marcus feels, the more vicious he becomes. I drop the phone onto my lap, letting my head fall back against the pillow. The old me would have simply wept with relief that evidence is on my side. The new me, shaped by heartbreak and betrayal, can't trust relief so easily. There's always another blow waiting in the wings. A knock at the partially open door startles me. A nurse in pale scrubs peeks inside, offering a gentle smile when I meet her eyes. "Good morning, Miss Thomas," she says softly, stepping in and checking the fluid levels on my IV line. "How are you feeling?" I force a polite nod. "Better," I manage, though it's half-truth. My body's battered from stress, but physically I guess I'm stable enough. "Thank you." She's quick but competent. Taking my blood pressure, making small talk about how the corridors are quieter than usual. I ask if Jacob is around. He must have gone off to talk to the stone board again. She offers a sympathetic tilt of her head. "He stepped out early, I believe. Looked determined." A flicker of warmth seeps through me. Jacob. Always determined. Always pushing for my name's vindication. For a moment, the tension behind my sternum loosens. "Thank you," I whisper again. The nurse finishes her checks. "You had mentioned wanting to see Derek this morning. I can help you get into your wheelchair if you're still feeling up to it." At the mere mention of Derek, a tightness returns. My dear friend, shot and left for dead amid some orchard ambush we barely understand. We need him to testify. More than that, I just need him in my life. I nod firmly. Yes, please, let's go see him. She helps disconnect the IV for a short time, hooking me up to a portable line. With her steady guidance, I swing my legs over the edge of the bed. My entire body protests the movement, muscles stiff from too many nights sleeping in anxious knots. But I push through, letting her settle me into the wheelchair. The wheels squeak faintly, and I can't help a flashback to the prison's squeaking corridor cart. I banish that memory before it drags me under. The nurse leads me out into the hallway. Bright morning light streams through tall windows, highlighting the sterile floors that reflect overhead fluorescence. Staff hustle past with clipboards and stethoscopes, engaged in the everyday hustle of saving lives. Yet each of them cast me a glance, some purely curious, some pitying. I try not to shrink beneath their scrutiny, reminding myself I'm no longer an inmate. I hold my chin a fraction higher. A few corners later, we reach the ICU, where Derek has been for days. The nurse guiding me steps aside to let another staff member open the glass door to Derek's room. My pulse skitters as I roll inside, eyes locking onto the shape in the bed. The beep of monitors forms a steady, unnerving lullaby. He lies there, pale and unmoving. The tubes in his arms and the bandage near his temple, a stark reminder of the bullet wound that nearly took his life. The nurse stands by, giving me space. I push the wheelchair closer, swallowing the sob that threatens to escape. A second nurse in Derek's room looks up. "Good timing," she murmurs with a subdued smile. "He's stable. We even saw a faint response in his neural checks earlier. A twitch or two." My heart leaps. "Really?" My voice cracks, and I cling to that precious hope, imagining him waking. "So he's improving?" She offers a careful nod. "It's too early to celebrate, but yes, we saw a small flicker." I wish I could jump from the wheelchair and fling my arms around Derek in joy. Instead, I reach for his hand. It's warm but limp, unresponsive. My eyes flick to the monitors, lines that represent his heart rate, oxygen saturation, brain activity. The nurse's words echo. It's too early to celebrate. I can't help the pang of disappointment that stabs me. The improvement is real, but small. I move in closer, hoping maybe my presence might evoke another flutter of recognition. "Derek," I whisper, voice trembling. "I don't know if you can sense anything, but they say you might be stirring. If you can hear me, listen closely. The final hearing is tomorrow. We might have the evidence to clear me, but I still need you. We all need you." My breath hitches as the beep of the machine remains steady. No sign of a miraculous awakening. Tears glaze my eyes, but I won't let them fall. Trixa's sabotage logs are nearly verified. I continue softly. "Jacob's fighting for me. For you. We just want you to come back, okay?" My fingers brush against his, hoping for the faintest squeeze. Nothing. Yet I cling to that nurse's mention of a neural twitch, a spark of something. Perhaps tomorrow or next week, he'll open his eyes, and the sabotage's final puzzle pieces can be revealed. For now, I breathe in and out, refusing to crumble. Behind me, the staff shifts, politely giving me privacy. I lean in, pressing my forehead near Derek's arm. "Hold on," I murmur. "We're so close." After a few more minutes, the nurse gently prods me that my vitals check is overdue. I nod, letting her wheel me back out into the corridor. My mood is a tangled swirl of relief, a faint neural response, and frustration that Derek is still unreachable. At the same time, my phone buzzes in my lap, a text from the judge's clerk telling me the hearing is indeed set for tomorrow, so I need to be prepared. My palms sweat against the wheelchair's armrests. Tomorrow. Everything might be decided tomorrow. The entire fiasco that's overshadowed my life, rebranded me as a murderer, placed me in prison while pregnant. It could end in under 24 hours. In the hospital corridor, Jacob's voice echoes from around the corner. sounding tense. The nurse wheels me forward until we spot him. He's leaning against a wall, phone to his ear, free hand gesturing in agitation. The moment he sees me, he wraps up the call abruptly, stuffing the phone in his jacket pocket. My nurse discreetly rolls me up to him, then steps back to let us talk. He offers a taut smile, though tension radiates off him. "Hey," he says quietly. "How's Derek?" I fill him in. They said a faint neural sign. I guess he's improving. Still comatose, though not worsening like last time. Jacob runs a hand through his hair, relief flashing across his features. That's something. Better than no progress at all, than worsening at the same time. He's too stubborn to let go easily. I nod, exhaling. That's what keeps me going. Then I tilt my head, scanning his face. What about you? You look upset. A low growl vibrates in his throat. The stone board. Some members are still entertaining the idea of letting Marcus invest. They claim they can't ignore the potential funds. I told them they're insane. If Trixa's data is verified, Marcus's name will be nuclear, but they said they want to see the final results first. My jaw tightens. Even after everything he's done to sabotage us, they still want his money? Jacob gives a helpless shrug. They're desperate. They're pressuring Julia, almost forcing her to cry in the boardroom. Damn it. The hospital nearly faced ruin from all the negative press, and apparently Marcus offered a quiet bailout. They figure if you're found guilty, they'll need a backup investor. It's disgusting. I told them to wait at least one more day. Anger flickers hot in my chest. I glance away, inhaling slowly to keep calm. Well, hopefully tomorrow's hearing clarifies everything. Once I'm cleared, they won't have an excuse to keep courting him. He nods, letting out a heavy sigh. Yeah. I just hate how easily they considered letting him back in, like they forgot he staged half this fiasco. His voice trembles with frustration, and it occurs to me again how intensely he cares, not just about the hospital's reputation, but about me, about my future, our future. Reaching out, I rest a hand on his sleeve. Thank you, I say quietly. You keep fighting for me, even when some of them are ready to discard me. His shoulders soften. Nyla, you're not something to be discarded. You never were. I'm just sorry you have to endure this roller coaster. One day to go, hopefully. I swallow the lump in my throat, aware that tomorrow might be my deliverance or my final condemnation. One day, I echo, trying to muster a smile. A few hours later, I'm back in my hospital room, the hush of mid-afternoon enveloping the place. Jacob leans on the windowsill while I lie partially reclined, my wheelchair parked nearby. I watch him scroll through something on his phone, a digital pamphlet about prenatal care. My lips twitch in an involuntary smile. The scene is so domestic, so oddly sweet in a life overshadowed by conspiracy and sabotage. I never thought we'd get this. A moment to dream about normalcy and our baby's future. He lifts his gaze, noticing me staring. What? He asks, half smiling. Just seeing you read that, I say, voice soft. Makes me realize we still have a life to build after all this. The baby, a home, a chance to be parents. He sets the phone aside, crossing to my bedside. We will have that. I know we will. Soon. He strokes my hair gently. In a way, it's comforting. No matter how messy everything is, there's a new life coming that depends on us. We can't give up. Warmth seeps through my chest, and for a second I forget my fear. I catch his hand and press it lightly against my abdomen. Thank you for reminding me, I whisper. Sometimes I get lost in the nightmares. His eyes shine with quiet determination. Then I'll keep reminding you. He leans down, pressing a tender kiss to my forehead. I close my eyes, letting his warmth anchor me. Evening creeps in, and an unsettling hush falls across the hospital. The nurse checks me again, offering a mild sedative for stress, which I decline. I want a clear head. Sleep hovers, but fear wards it off. I drift in and out, thoughts swirling about Derek's faint response, the board's betrayal, the orchard attack. At some point, I realize Jacob slipped out, probably for a meeting or a phone call. My chest tightens with longing for his presence, but exhaustion tugs me under. A noise at midnight yanks me from a restless half-sleep. My private nurse, Gemma, a trusted friend of Margaret, and someone who has been taking care of Nyla, stands by the door, phone in hand, voice urgent as she calls my name. My heart flips. "What's wrong?" I croak, struggling to sit upright. She steps forward, her expression brimming with tension. Margaret texted. The forensics team confirmed Trixa's logs. They're 100% certain. They've shared the results with the judge's office. The hearing tomorrow is set. She offers me a small smile. "This is good news, Miss Thomas. Potentially the best." A tremor rolls through me. I reach for my phone on the bedside tray. Sure enough, there's a message from Margaret, succinct but loaded with meaning. Logs fully authenticated. Tomorrow's hearing is it. Prepare for a final blow to prosecution. Good luck. The nurse touches my arm gently. "Need anything? Water? You look a bit pale." My pulse throbs. No, I'm okay. Thank you." She nods and exits. I'm left staring at the glowing phone screen. So this is it? Trixa's sabotage logs are officially validated. The entire structure of the case that pinned me as a murderer might crumble in less than 12 hours. A wave of relief surges, but it collides with a fiercer wave of dread that threatens to drown me. Because what if Marcus tries something monstrous out of desperation? He's unhinged, rumor says. Could he send men to sabotage Trixa's data physically, or to silence Derek before he recovers? I rub my arms, shivering in the mild hospital air. 1,000 nightmare scenarios crowd my mind. I push the wheelchair forward until I'm at the window. The moon hangs low in the sky, silver light shimmering on the cars in the parking lot below. My reflection in the glass is that of a woman caught between hope and terror. My hair is limp, my eyes shadowed with sleepless worry. The hospital gown drapes over my figure, belly slightly pronounced with the baby inside. In that reflection, I see someone who has survived so many storms and yet stands on the precipice of one more. Will I be free? Or will tomorrow's hearing invite a final ambush from the prosecution, some last-minute trick? Marcus has vanished from the public eye. No sign of him seating gracefully. The city's rumor mill says he's gone mad in some secret den. If Trixa's data truly nails him, he might lash out. A single thought crosses my mind. Is there any safe corner left for me? For Jacob? For Derek? Or even for Trixa if she resurfaces? My phone vibrates in my hand. The message from Margaret still open. I slide my thumb across it, rereading the line. Tomorrow's hearing might set you free or spark Marcus's final move. My stomach flips as if I'm on a roller coaster at full speed. Setting the phone aside, I rest my forehead against the cool glass. My heart hammers with the leftover adrenaline of the day, the nurse's midnight update echoing in my ears. The logs are real. Jacob's parents' death was pinned on me, but Trixa found the truth. She risked everything, including her own safety. I think of Derek, lying in that bed, shot while chasing those secrets. They all gave so much to save me from a false murder charge. If tomorrow ends in triumph, I owe them my entire future. Breathing slowly, I recall the small flicker of movement Derek showed this morning. That memory helps me cling to positivity. The orchard meltdown almost claimed his life, but maybe he's clawing his way back. My father nearly ruined me, but Trixa's evidence might exonerate me. So many near tragedies, so many near salvations. Tomorrow is the tipping point. I linger at the window for a while, letting the hush of late-night hospital activity lull me. A distant overhead page calls for a doctor on the 3rd floor. Footsteps echo in the hall. My entire body is taut with tension, as if expecting the door to burst open with some new crisis. Yet no crisis comes, just silence, occasionally broken by staff passing or the beep of a machine in a neighboring room. Eventually, I rub my arms to banish the chill and maneuver the wheelchair back to my bed. Climbing in with the nurse's help, I realize my limbs feel heavy, each muscle on the brink of collapse. Despite the exhaustion, my mind buzzes. The pillow is soft, but my heart is frantic. I yearn for Jacob's comforting presence, though I suspect he's dealing with last-minute calls, or maybe he's in the hallway, giving me space. The clock on the wall reads 12:37 a.m. Another day has technically begun, and with it, the final countdown to the hearing. I wonder if the judge sleeps well tonight, or if she, too, senses the crackling energy in the air. A stray tear slips free, rolling across my cheek before vanishing in the pillow. I think about the future. A child growing in my womb, hopefully born into freedom. A chance to walk out of Crestwood Hospital on my own 2 feet, no shackles, no guards, no forced returns to a jail cell. In that dream, Derek stands next to me, awake and smiling at how dramatic life became. Jacob holds my hand, calm and strong, guiding me into the next chapter, where maybe we can just be normal people again. But reality tugs me back. Marcus. The memory of him lingers like a bruise on my heart. There was a time I thought maybe he had some twisted fatherly affection, but he showed no mercy forging my name on sabotage evidence. Now the world is turning against him, and men whisper that he's unraveling in some hidden place. That fatherly facade I once believed in, shattered. The man is a cornered animal, and cornered animals bite hard. I shudder, pulling the blankets up to my chin, even though the air isn't cold. The fear inside me is more chilling than any draft. If the sabotage logs truly damn him in court, what's his next move? Would he try to kill me? Or Jacob? Or even threaten Derek again to keep me silent? My breath hitches at the thought. I push it away, focusing on the promise that tomorrow the judge sees the final forensics. Margaret said the judge is rarely swayed by theatrics, so if the evidence is bulletproof, the prosecution can't salvage their frame job. In the half-lit room, my eyes drift shut, though my mind refuses real rest. Even with sedation or pain meds, I suspect I'd still lie awake. My life is balanced on a razor's edge, freedom or chaos. Trixa's data is a beacon of hope, yet that same beacon might lure Marcus into a desperate last stand. I exhale a shaky breath, pressing a hand to my belly. The baby's movements are still subtle, flutters that come and go. But whenever I feel them, it's like a reminder. Hold on, Mama. We'll get through this. I cling to that idea, letting the tension in my shoulders ease just a fraction. A noise at the door draws my attention. One of the night nurses stands there, an apologetic expression on her face. I'm sorry, Miss Thomas. Did I wake you? I force a small smile. No, I'm awake. She hesitates, then steps forward. Jacob Stone is in the hallway. Finishing a call, he asked if you need anything. My chest warms at the mention of him. Tell him I'm good, I say softly. He can come in if he wants. She nods, leaves. Moments later, I hear the quiet murmur of his voice in the corridor, finishing up something urgent. The warm sense of comfort seeps in again. I close my eyes briefly, grateful I'm not alone in this final stretch. I let the hush settle. The beep of my heart monitor reminds me I'm alive, that tomorrow I might be vindicated, and if all goes well, I can face the public without shame. I'll do it for Derek, for Trixa, for the baby, for Jacob, and maybe even for me. Eventually, I hear the door open again. Footsteps approach, and Jacob's gentle presence settles at my bedside. He brushes a kiss across my forehead, likely thinking I'm asleep. I want to open my eyes, but somehow I feel safer in the quiet pretense of sleep. He exhales, a ragged sound, then sinks into the chair, lightly taking my hand in his. Neither of us speaks, but the room feels less haunted now. As the clock ticks past 1 a.m., I drift into a half doze, heart pounding with the knowledge that Trixa's sabotage logs have been deemed legitimate, that the final hearing is mere hours away. The baby turns, and I rest a protective palm there, letting the swirl of fear and hope mix in my veins. No more illusions. Tomorrow is real. The last stand for my innocence, or the final push from Marcus. If I let my mind stray to Derek's faint neural sign, I feel a flicker of optimism. If I dwell on Marcus's unraveling, I feel a chill. But I choose to cling to the positive. Trixa's data is real. Derek might be slowly coming back, and Jacob is here. The rest is out of my hands, swirling in the unstoppable current of the future. I settle deeper into the pillow, listening to Jacob's quiet breathing. My father might prowl the shadows, but tomorrow, the truth is on my side. My eyes flutter shut. Let tomorrow come. I thought I was getting a fake marriage, but I didn't know my story was being told by Miss Tyler.
This isn't just any fake marriage now, is it?
No. You introduced me to the devil.
Come on, girl. Jacob isn't that bad.
Oh, I love Jacob. His family, on the other hand?
Beggars can't be choosers, Nyla. You should be grateful I even let Jacob Stone look your way.
I just wanted to save my granddaddy. Is that so bad? Why couldn't you let this be a normal fake marriage? Instead, you put me in a twisty story filled with money, betrayal, power, and lies.
Let's not forget love.
That's what keeps me going. But not gonna lie, Miss Tyler. This story you got me in ain't the simple fake marriage happy ending I thought it would be.
It's not. Where would be the fun in that?
Treat yourself to Say Less, I Love You. New releases every Thursday, now with longer episodes. Or skip the wait and grab the full series bundle from TylerWalker.com for up to 85% off. Treat yourself with Miss Tyler.
Chapter 3, 148. Jacob. I step into the courthouse's main hall, and it feels like walking into the center of a storm. Bright camera flashes burst from every corner, reporters shouting over each other, the crowd jostling so hard that security has to form a wall around us. My pulse thuds in my ears. I can almost taste the tension, a mix of stale coffee, perfume, and raw anticipation swirling through the air. Nyla's hand is curled around my arm, knuckles blanched. The moment we push through the double doors into the courtroom, the din of the outside world muffles, replaced by the hush of watchers, some curious, some hostile, all on the edge of their seats. It's a full house, journalists in pressed suits scribbling notes, Stone Hospital staff eyeing us anxiously, a smattering of supporters from the city. A pang hits me when I catch sight of a few familiar faces from the board, their expressions tight with worry or skepticism. But all that fades the second I feel Nyla's tense grip. She's the only focus I care about right now. I guide her to the defense table, where Margaret is already waiting, flipping through a stack of documents. A tall forensic expert stands to one side, wearing the neutral expression of a man used to testifying. My chest rattles with each breath, adrenaline thundering as we take our seats. Nyla settles in carefully, refusing to let me see how her body still aches. She's determined, chin lifted, eyes fierce. I know how many times she's pictured this moment, the final reckoning. It's all or nothing now. The bailiff's voice booms, "All rise." Everyone stands, chairs scraping. The judge strides in, robes swirling around her ankles, gavel in hand. I swallow hard as she settles behind the bench, scanning the crowd with a steady gaze before instructing us to sit. The hush deepens, an almost tangible weight pressing down on every soul in the room. Margaret clears her throat, stepping forward with the newly printed forensic report. "Your Honor, we have crucial evidence to present regarding Miss Thomas's alleged involvement in the sabotage and murder of Mr. Jacob Stone's parents." She gestures to the forensic expert, who nods in confirmation. I slide my gaze to Nyla. She's rigid in her chair, eyes glistening with both hope and fear. My stomach twists, recalling all the nightmares we lived through. Her wrongful arrest, nights in solitary, the accusations that turned half the city against her. But now maybe it will all end. The expert's voice is calm as he addresses the judge. "We performed a thorough analysis on the murder sabotage logs, originally provided by Miss Trixa Swan. Our investigation confirms the logs are genuine, no signs of digital forgery. The data reveals irregular payments, date stamps, and email threads tying sabotage efforts directly to Marcus's accounts. The videos have been verified, and they were tampered, and consequently with the evidence presented by Miss Trixa Swan, we have proven that Marcus Swan has been involved in the falsifying of evidence for the death of Mr. Jacob Stone's parents." A ripple of whispers moves through the gallery. My heart hammers. This is it. Everything we pinned our last hope on. From the corner of my eye, I see one or two members of the prosecution exchange panicked looks. That sight sends a surge of relief through me. They're on the defensive now. The judge's gaze sweeps across the courtroom. "Prosecution, do you have any rebuttal or contradictory evidence?" Their lead counsel, a wiry woman with a scowl set deep in her face, stands. She glances at a stack of papers, voice taut. "We question the chain of custody on Miss Swan's documents. Trixa is not present to confirm the conditions under which these logs were retrieved. Moreover..." Margaret cuts in, tone respectful but unyielding. "Your Honor, the third-party forensic team verified not only the metadata, but also Trixa Swan's encryption signatures, cross-referenced with multiple prior communications. We have no doubt these are legitimate. The circumstances of Miss Swan's absence do not invalidate the digital footprint." The judge nods, a crease forming on her brow. "I'll take that under advisement. Prosecution, if you have no further contradictory proof, we move on." The counsel flounders, flipping through her notes but finding nothing to counter. I can practically taste her frustration in the air. Leaning closer to Nyla, I whisper, "They've got nothing left." Her lips twitch in the faintest tremble. I sense her wanting to believe it, but too petrified to celebrate prematurely. I slide a hand beneath the table, gently resting it over hers. It's icy cold, but she squeezes my fingers back. The judge's voice resonates. "Miss Thomas, please rise." Nyla stands on unsteady legs. I get to my feet too, pulse pounding so loud I can barely hear. The judge regards us a moment, then looks at the prosecution. "Given the newly authenticated evidence, it's clear Miss Thomas was framed via forged documents, and the sabotage in question leads directly to Mr. Marcus's finances. The prosecution relied on doctored evidence for its initial argument." She levels a stern glare at the prosecution side. "This court finds no grounds to continue charges against Miss Thomas." It takes me a split second to realize she just declared Nyla's innocence. The moment the words sink in, my entire body sags with relief so potent my knees nearly buckle. Cameras flash instantly. Reporters jolted out of their silent tension. Applause breaks from a corner behind us, maybe Stone staff or a few supporters who believed in her all along. Over the rising murmurs, the judge's tone cuts through, telling them to maintain order. But the emotional wave is unstoppable. Nyla looks stunned, tears shimmering on her cheeks. I loop my arm around her waist, pulling her close against me. My own throat is too tight for words, so I bury my face in her hair. Her breath hitches. She clutches my jacket, tears slipping onto the dark fabric. My lips press to her temple, voice trembling. "You're free." I whisper it over and over, like a prayer, a mantra, wanting her to believe it. She closes her eyes, tears marking her face as cameras explode with light, capturing our private moment. In the swirl of it all, I sense the judge scolding the prosecution, her words lost beneath the pounding in my ears. All I can do is hold Nyla, inhaling the reality that the nightmare is over. The path is open, the past no longer chaining her to a cell. The bailiff raps his gavel, clearing the room, and we're ushered out under a barrage of reporters. My entire focus remains on the woman pressed to my side, the taste of salt tears on her skin, the faint tremor in her limbs. Reporters swarm us outside the courtroom, microphones thrust into our faces. "Miss Thomas, how does it feel to be exonerated?" "Mr. Stone, what's your next move for Stone Hospital?" The questions blur together in a cacophony. We push through, security forming a tight ring around Nyla to protect her from the crush of cameras. We barely register the footsteps or jostling. She's breathing hard, chest rising and falling as though all the adrenaline is catching up to her. I place a palm on her back, guiding her down the hall toward a side exit. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, and a dozen anxious faces stare as we pass. Part of me wants to snap at them to give her space, but I bite down the impulse. Soon we slip through a roped-off corridor, emerging into a quieter wing that leads to the parking lot. Relief floods me just to be away from the pushing throng. Margaret hurries over, eyes shining. "I'll handle any press statements. You two, get out of here. She's been through enough for one day." Her lips form a genuine smile as she gives Nyla's shoulder a quick squeeze. "Congratulations, Miss Thomas. You earned this." Nyla's voice cracks when she tries to respond, so she just nods, expression tearful but glowing with fragile joy. I thank Margaret, then hustle Nyla into the waiting hospital van that's meant to transport her back to Crestwood or wherever she wants now. She collapses into a seat with a shaky exhale, the wheels spinning in her mind as she processes it all. Inside the van, I sink beside her, hooking an arm around her shoulders. Her eyes flutter closed, tears still on her lashes. I brush them away gently with my thumb. The driver starts the engine, pulling us away from the curb. City noise recedes as the courthouse shrinks behind us. "You okay?" I murmur, voice hushed. She opens her eyes, watery but steady. I can't believe it," she breathes, pressing a hand to her chest. "All those nights, all that humiliation, And now, just like that, they say I'm free. Part of me wants to scream with joy. Part of me can't let go of the fear that something else will go wrong. Her words tug at my heart. It's over, I say, injecting all the certainty I can muster. They can't keep you in chains anymore. Not legally, not publicly. You've won. She releases a trembling laugh, leaning her head against my shoulder. We won. The drive back to Crestwood is strangely silent, each of us lost in thought. Occasionally she glances up, scanning the windows as if expecting a threat. My phone buzzes non-stop in my pocket. Messages from the stone board, from well-wishers, from staff. I ignore them all for now, focusing on the woman I hold. At last, the van parks near the hospital side entrance. We slip inside with minimal fanfare, no more guards blocking us from stepping into her suite. The elevator ride up is quiet, a nurse greeting us with a bright smile that says she's heard the verdict. Nyla responds with a timid nod, exhaustion pulling at her features. When we reach her private room, the door closes softly behind us, leaving just the two of us in the hush. No guard, no clinking cuffs. The overhead lights are dim, sunlight filtering through the window. She stands there, arms hugging herself as if she can't quite believe she's allowed to just be. I watch her, a mix of overwhelming pride and tenderness spiking in my chest. She takes a shaky step toward me. Her lips part, but no words come, only a raw emotion brimming in her eyes. Without conscious thought, I cross the space between us, curling my hand around the back of her neck and pressing my forehead to hers. We stand like that, breathing in sync, adrenaline still sizzling under our skin. You did it, I whisper, voice tight with affection. Her breath hitches. No, she corrects quietly. We did it. Those words break the last barrier. My fingers slip from her neck to cradle her face, and I see tears glisten on her cheeks again. The next heartbeat, she's in my arms, pressed close enough that I feel the frantic thud of her heart matching my own. The weight of every sleepless night, every terrifying rumor, every humiliating strip search or hearing dissolves in that closeness. She trembles, whispering against my shoulder. I can't turn it off. The relief is there, but so is the fear. I brush my lips across her temple, voice gentle. I know, but this time the fear has no hold. We're going to walk out of this, build our life, never look back. She nods, exhaling, and pulls back just enough for our eyes to meet. The air between us thickens with a wave of emotion. Relief, need, the undeniable yearning we've both suppressed for weeks. I feel it crackle along my spine. My gaze flicks to her lips, parted in a trembling breath. The moment lengthens, electricity coursing through me. She lifts a hand to my chest, and it's like a signal. We close the distance, mouths meeting in a kiss that starts soft, but deepens into something fierce, desperate. Her tears slip onto my skin, her hands clinging to my shirt as if letting go might lose everything we fought for. I respond with equal fervor, my arm circling her waist, one hand slipping up her back, the other tangling in her hair. Each press of our lips conveys the pent-up longing that existed behind courtroom stoicism. It's a collision of raw relief and passion, a need to reaffirm that we're alive and together. She gives a breathy moan and my blood ignites. It's not about lust alone, it's about survival, about love, about everything we almost lost. Some part of my mind registers we're in a hospital suite, but I can't bring myself to care. She's trembling, so I guide her backward carefully, toward the bed. She sits on the edge, fingers gripping the collar of my shirt to pull me close. Our eyes lock, and I see that mixture of tears and fire in her expression. We're both undone by this victory, by the magnitude of relief. I trail kisses down her jaw, murmuring, I'm so proud of you, words that catch in my throat. She arches against me, responding with a fervent kiss that sends heat spiraling through my core. Every breath is a testament to the tension we've survived. In the hush that follows, we peel back the layers of fear. Clothing is pushed aside, hearts racing, lips exploring new territory we once had to deny. The night outside is silent, and I lose track of how many times I brush tears from her cheeks or she kisses the corner of my mouth, half laughing at the absurd sweetness of this moment. We're free. We're exhausted. We're triumphant. A swirl of blankets, a gasped name, and everything is a rush of warmth and closeness. Her fingers claw at my belt, trembling but insistent. Need you? Now! Her breath hitches as she fumbles with the buckle, teeth grazing my earlobe. I yank her scrubs down her hips, the fabric ripping at the seams. That's it. Fight for it. You've always been a goddamn fighter. My palm smacks her butt hard enough to leave a mark, the sharp slap echoing off sterile hospital walls. She gasps, arching into it. Screw you, Jacob! She snarls. But her hands are already tugging my slacks lower, nails scoring my thighs. I push her onto the mattress, her back hitting crisp hospital linen. Her eyes dare me, defiant, wild, still glazed with tears. I climb over her, gripping her wrists above her head. Look at you, ex-con turned angel. Bet they'd choke seeing their saint like this. She writhes, legs hooking around my waist. You're half out of your suit and still acting CEO. My laugh is all gravel. You love it. I bite her collarbone, teeth claiming the pulse point beneath her jaw. Her moan unravels me. Screw your ego, she pants, but her hips roll up, grinding against me.
I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit this platform's limit for spiciness.
This platform's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full, uncut version at TylaWalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla.
After we lie entangled, her head on my chest, breath still ragged from the intensity. The hospital bed is narrow, but we press close like we belong in this small space. The adrenaline recedes, leaving a hazy glow of comfort. My hand wanders to her belly, feeling the slight curve where our child grows. A knot forms in my throat at the thought that we can protect that child from the fate Nyla almost endured. She turns her head, eyes half-lidded, gaze shining with raw affection. She gives me a gentle, trembling smile. I never thought this day would come. My own breath hitches as I stroke a thumb across her cheek. You deserved it all along. They just finally realized it. Her face softens, and she leans up to kiss me lightly, her lips still warm from tears and laughter. I hold her as the hush settles, a tranquil hush that feels almost too perfect. Then, abruptly, my phone vibrates on the side table with a harsh rattle. We both tense. In an instant, the bubble of joy deflates, replaced by a prickle of dread. Sighing, I reach over to check the screen. My voice tightens when I see the caller ID. Unknown. Usually that means trouble. Nyla sits up, pulling the sheet around her shoulders, eyes warily on me as I answer. The voice that crackles through sounds frantic, breathless. My brain registers the name. Dr. Helene from the community clinic, I think. She's spitting out words so fast I barely catch them. Lori. Missing. Days. No sign. We tried everyone. My stomach drops to my heels. What? I snap, blood pounding. What do you mean Lori's missing? Nyla stiffens. Missing? She mouths, confusion darkening her gaze. I hold up a finger to keep her calm, though I feel anything but calm. Dr. Helene's words tumble out in a panicked rush. She didn't show up for volunteer shifts. Her phone's off. We thought maybe she was with you, or Alexander. Then I heard nothing. She's nowhere. This can't be normal. She'd never vanish without telling someone. My mouth goes dry. Lori is our close friend, the one who stood by Nyla's side countless times. My mind swirls. When did she disappear? I demand, voice rough. The answer is a punch to the gut. Apparently it's been a few days. My heartbeat slams. Why didn't we know sooner? The doctor confesses she tried, but Alexander told her to keep it hush, not to disturb us mid-trial. My rage ignites, flooding me with heat. I end the call abruptly after promising we'll do everything to locate Lori. For a second, I just stare at the phone in my hand, disbelief warring with fury. Then I turn to Nyla, who's gone pale, hugging the sheet across her chest. Her voice shakes. She's missing. For days? She grips my forearm, face contorting. Jacob, why didn't anyone tell us? My fury roars to life. Alexander, I grind out, eyes narrowing. He must have known. He told them not to distract us. He let us walk around clueless while our friend was in danger. The betrayal stings sharper than any boardroom argument. I can hardly breathe for anger. Nyla's lips tremble, tears welling again. He had no right to keep that from us. We would have gone searching. She presses a hand to her forehead, breath turning ragged. We have to find her. I know. My voice comes out hoarse. We'll do it. Right now. I'm not letting a single hour pass without searching for her. The euphoria from our intimate moment disintegrates, replaced by an urgent need to act. She scrambles off the bed, rummaging for her clothing. Her movements are frantic, adrenaline spiking again. We have to call Alexander, demand an explanation. Her eyes meet mine, guilt swirling. What if she's hurt? God, Jacob, she was there for me so many times and we didn't even realize she was gone. I swallow thickly, yanking on my own clothes with jerky motions. We'll call him. We'll call Dr. Helene. We'll call everyone. We'll tear the city apart if we have to. My hands shake as I button my shirt, mind already planning. I can't believe this is happening the same day we finally freed Nyla. The universe doesn't give us a break. Nyla exhales sharply, pulling on fresh scrubs from the closet, ignoring the hospital gown. She glances at me with desperation in her eyes. Let's go. I can't sit here. Without hesitation, I grab my phone, heading to the door. We'll find her, I promise, in a voice that vibrates with determination. I swear. We emerge into the corridor, hearts pounding anew. The nurse stationed by Nyla's room notices our frantic expressions. Before she can ask, I wave her off, half lifting my phone. We stride down the hall, synergy fueling us. The swirl of earlier joy is overshadowed by the new weight crashing down. As we pass staff who smile and congratulate us on the verdict, we nod stiffly, not wanting to explain that the world's gone sideways again. Exiting the hospital, we stand momentarily under the noon sun. Heat bakes the pavement. Cars rush by. Nyla grips my arm, voice a near whisper. She's alone, somewhere. Why would Alexander hide that from us? I never thought he'd betray us like that. My fury flares again. He's not the only one to blame. The entire situation is messed up. But I can't fix that now. Let's see what he knows. Drag answers out of him if we must. She nods, swallowing tears. Yes, right now. I guide her to the parked car, heart pounding at the realization that just an hour ago we were celebrating the end of her nightmare. Life changed in a blink. The sour thought hits me. Peace never lasts for us. Not yet. As we drive away from Crestwood, I can't shake the image of Lori's bright smile. The guilt weighs heavy in my chest. I should have noticed her absence. She's been such a constant presence in our lives that maybe I took her for granted. My knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. I vow silently, I won't rest until she's safe. Nyla's phone buzzes in her lap, and I sense her stiffen. She answers, voice low. I only catch fragments, but it's presumably more news from Dr. Helene or Margaret, verifying that yes, Lori is definitely missing. They found her apartment locked, no sign of forced entry, no note, no calls. I grit my teeth so hard my jaw aches. Another disappearance, another storm. My free hand reaches for Nyla's, giving it a fierce squeeze. She squeezes back, both of us silent, hearts pounding with the knowledge that no victory is absolute. Even as we race through the city streets, free at last from one nightmare, we plunge headlong into another. Lori's vanishing casts a brutal shadow over our hard-won triumph, and I realize with icy clarity that peace is fleeting. Danger still stalks us at every turn.
You know that feeling when a book pulls you in, wraps around you, and refuses to let go? When the tension is so thick, you swear you can feel it?
Welcome to 30 sinfully addictive romance audiobooks that will ruin your sleep.
Wow, I wasn't ready for this. One chapter in, and I'm already hooked.
Oh, you thought this was just another audiobook collection. No, sweetheart. This is the Dirty 30. Forbidden love, dangerous desires, billionaires with secrets, bad boys who bite back. And every last word is dripped in temptation.
I thought I could just listen to one chapter before bed. Now it's 2 a.m. and I need answers. Need.
So what are you waiting for? Click the link. Start listening. Let the Dirty 30 ruin you in the best way possible.
Escape your life with Miss Tyla. Chapter 349. Nyla. I watch the morning sun etch thin stripes of light across the floor of the penthouse living room, each one stretching over the polished wood like a quiet promise. My fingers curl around a mug of mint tea, its warmth comforting but hardly enough to steady the anxiety knotting my chest. Ever since I left Crestwood Hospital, I've been trying to remind myself I'm no longer cloistered by medical machines and protective orderlies. Yet this new reality, back in Jacob's space with my name cleared but danger lingering, feels tenuous at best. A single laptop rests on the coffee table, screen glowing with an ever-updating scroll of messages, tip-offs, and frantic pleas for help. Investigators I hired are busily sending me everything they can find about Trixa's possible whereabouts and, more urgently, about Lori's abduction. The sight of her smiling photo pinned atop every search result makes my stomach churn. I set the mug down, inhaling slowly to push back a surge of nausea. The baby fluttering inside me is the only gentle reminder that life continues, however chaotic the circumstances. Jacob appears from the hallway, phone pressed to his ear, voice low. He tosses me a brief glance, sympathy and frustration etched into the tension around his eyes. I can't hear what the person on the other end is saying, but the way Jacob's shoulders stiffen tells me the conversation isn't yielding anything good. He ends the call with a curt, "Let me know the minute you have something solid," then drops the phone onto the table. Its sharp clack in the silent living room makes me jump. "Anything new?" I ask, trying to keep my voice even. He shakes his head, running a hand through his hair. "Our guys have come up with nothing so far. Lori's trail ends abruptly. No credit card use, no phone pings. It's as if she vanished into thin air." I press my palms flat on my thighs, nerves buzzing. She wouldn't just run off. We both know that. And Trixa, she vanished weeks ago. We all know she's not crazy. Derek's barely out of critical condition. It's like every person on our side is either missing or fighting for their life. Jacob's gaze flicks to me, and something soft enters his expression. He crosses the space between us, resting a warm hand on my shoulder. "We'll find them," he murmurs. "All of them. I'm not letting this stand." Despite his words, A sting of helplessness lodges in my throat. We're pouring resources into the search, but it feels as though the city is swallowing Lori and Trixa's footprints. The accusations cast such a wide net of confusion, overshadowing so many truths, and now the events tumble forward, unstoppable. I sigh, picking up the laptop to refresh my feeds. My eyes skim page after page of speculation, anonymous forum posts, questionable sightings. Each rumor hits me like a minor bruise, then a real alert pings at the top corner, the bright red text demanding my attention. My heart stutters as I open it. Marcus Swan spotted in downtown rundown building, SWAT mobilizing. For a moment, I forget to breathe. My father. The man who forged evidence to frame me for sabotage. The man I once adored in a naive corner of my childhood. My vision tunnels, reading the short line again. He's back, and the authorities have pinned him down. Jacob notices my tension and leans in, brow furrowed. "What is it?" he asks quietly. I turn the screen so he can see. The lines of his face shift from curiosity to grim understanding. "We should watch the news," he says. "Maybe they'll have live coverage." I jerk a nod, setting the laptop aside and reaching for the remote. The large TV on the far wall flares to life, and we flip channels until we find a local station. My breath catches at the shaky helicopter feed overhead, capturing a cluster of police vehicles surrounding a decrepit warehouse. Flickers of muzzle flashes, snatches of shielded SWAT officers. The headline scrolls, "Marcus Swan barricaded inside. Violent confrontation underway." I sink onto the couch, feeling my pulse roar in my ears. The footage flickers to a ground-level camera, capturing a wide shot of a battered metal door. A reporter's voice trembles over the mic, describing a man matching Marcus's description lunging at police, screaming about betrayal. My hand crushes the couch cushion. He's come undone. The father I once sought acceptance from has turned into a raging animal in a corner. Jacob stands behind me, arms folded, tension radiating from him. The feed stutters, then shows glimpses of paramedics waiting in the wings. The swirling flash of blue and red lights painting the cracked asphalt. The reporter yells over the gunfire that apparently the suspect, Marcus, is threatening to take out anyone who crosses him. My heart clenches painfully. Despite everything he's done to me, to Jacob, to our friends, a thread of regret tugs inside my chest. This is still the man who gave me life, twisted and monstrous as he's become. I can't ignore the sense of heartbreak in seeing him degrade into a meltdown. The camera lingers on him for a fraction of a second, wild-eyed, hair disheveled, shouting with a madness that's startling in its intensity. It's not a father I recognize. A bullet ricochet winds across the broadcast feed, and the camera operator ducks. The reporter stammers. "SWAT is moving in. Shots fired. Oh my." The station cuts away to a safer vantage, presumably from a helicopter again. The building's tin roof gleams under the helicopter's spotlight, and I see black-clad officers converging from the sides. Marcus is truly unhinged. The words repeat in my skull like a dirge. I breathe slowly, pressing a hand to my abdomen, trying to keep calm for the baby's sake. Jacob's hand lands gently on my shoulder. "You sure you're okay?" he murmurs. No, but let's see." I manage, voice quivering. "I need to know how this ends." We watch in tense silence, the anchor describing how negotiations failed, how Marcus was ranting about conspiracies and vengeance. My stomach roils. Then, abruptly, the footage shakes as bright headlights blaze across the scene. A cluster of dark SUVs barrels in from the side, tires screeching. The anchor's voice falters. "We have new, unidentified vehicles arriving. Are these additional police?" She breaks off as masked men leap out, brandishing weapons. I inhale sharply, nails digging into the couch. The masked men converge in a shockingly coordinated move, neutralizing the SWAT officers with stun grenades or something akin. Police scramble, some returning fire. The camera veers wildly, catching glimpses of those men hauling a thrashing figure, Marcus, away from the battered warehouse. My mind struggles to process it. Are they allies of his? Kidnappers? Both? The screen flickers. Then the station abruptly cuts to a studio shot. The anchor rattled, stammering that they lost the feed. My pulse pounds, disbelieving. Marcus was forcibly taken from the police by an unknown group. Why would anyone rescue a madman? Or maybe they intend to use him for their own ends. A sick dread coils in my gut. Jacob's voice is low. Did they just abduct him from the cops? He stands behind me, tension in every line of his body. I nod, eyes still locked on the now frozen screen. The anchor stutters an apology. We'll update as soon as we regain contact with our team. We're unsure if Mr. Swan has been rescued or kidnapped. Rescued or kidnapped, I echo, a bitter taste coating my tongue. Could be either. With how Marcus is, it's possible he's in deeper conspiracies than we knew. Jacob crosses in front of me, kneels to meet my eyes. Nyla, he says gently. He's out there, unhinged, apparently in unknown hands. That alone is terrifying. I lean forward, burying my face in my hands. He threatened my life, framed me for sabotage. Now I see him losing his mind on live TV. I don't know how to feel. Jacob gently pries my hands away, pressing a soft kiss to my knuckles. We can't control his meltdown, but we can brace ourselves. If these men want him for a reason, we need to find out. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes on the coffee table. The tone is urgent, an investigator's number flashing across the screen. I snatch it up, my voice shaking as I answer. Hello? A breathless man's voice hurries through his explanation. No new leads on Trixa or Lori. No rumored sightings. He's calling to check if I gleaned anything from the broadcast, or if it ties to their disappearances. I swallow disappointment, telling him we're still in the dark. When I end the call, a wave of helplessness crushes me. The living room feels stifling, the hum of the air conditioner doing nothing to calm the swirl of emotions. I stand abruptly, ignoring the subtle ache in my legs. We have to do something. We can't keep waiting for scraps of info from random calls. People I love are missing, and now Marcus is in God knows whose clutches. Jacob sets his jaw. We can talk to Alexander. He has underworld contacts that might figure out who these black SUVs belong to. If anyone knows about shadowy groups orchestrating kidnappings, it's him. A fierce pang of resentment flares at the thought of Alexander's secrecy about Lori, but I push it aside, focusing on the bigger picture. Yes, let's meet him, now. I can't keep ignoring that he withheld Lori's disappearance from us, but we need his help anyway. Jacob grabs his jacket, nodding agreement. I'll text him. Might take some persuasion to get him to meet in person since he's very busy apparently, but we both want the same. Lori's safety. I doubt he'll refuse. Within minutes, we're in Jacob's car, winding through city streets. The seatbelt presses lightly over my belly, a reminder that I need to watch my stress. Hard to do when the entire city buzzes with rumor. Some idolizing Marcus for defying the police, some condemning him as a mad criminal, others claiming he's an underworld puppet. We pass by digital billboards that flash news updates, footage loops of the men dragging Marcus into an SUV. My jaw tightens. It's overshadowing everything else, you know. I say quietly, eyes on the passing lights. Jacob's parents' sabotage, Derek's orchard shooting, even Trixa's meltdown. Now it's all about how or why someone forcibly took Marcus from the cops. He nods, lips pressing into a thin line. The city loves a new scandal, but will remain focused. The real question is if these kidnappers also hold Lori, or are they a separate threat altogether? I glance at the road ahead, dread gnawing at me. I can't see how they're separate. The timing is too close. My voice wavers. Lori is out there somewhere, maybe with a group that wants leverage against us or Alexander. Trixa's still missing. Every day that passes with no word makes me want to scream. Jacob's hand lands briefly on my thigh, a comforting squeeze. We'll get answers, one step at a time. Those words circle in my mind as we pull up to a gated building, a modern fortress that belongs to Alexander. Armed guards wave us through, their grim faces giving me no solace. The tension in the air is thick as we exit the car, stepping under the building's high arch. We find Alexander waiting in a glass-walled lobby, flanked by a pair of his loyal men, expressions as serious as tombstones. Alexander greets us with a tight nod. The faint, bruise-like shadows under his eyes reveal he's had no decent sleep either. "Nyla, Jacob," he says softly, "come upstairs." He gestures for us to follow, leading the way to a private elevator. No small talk. Inside the elevator, my frustration coils. The minute the doors close, I spin on him. "You kept Lori's abduction hidden," I accuse, voice trembling with hurt. "We had a right to know days ago." Alexander's posture stiffens. "I did it to keep you focused on your trial. You were so close to clearing your name. If you'd known about Lori, you might have undone yourself or drawn attention from the prosecution. I was trying to protect you." My hands clench at my sides. "Protect me by letting her vanish alone?" That's twisted logic, Alexander. The elevator dings, doors sliding open onto a hushed corridor. I storm out first, ignoring the lavish decor. "You might have cost us precious time to rescue her." He sighs, following quickly. "I know. I'm sorry. And for what it's worth, I've had men searching for her nonstop. They found no trail. It wasn't for lack of trying." Jacob remains silent, tension carved into his features. The corridor leads us into a sleek conference room. Once inside, we each take a seat at a polished metal table that reflects the overhead lights with a chilly brilliance. Alexander dismisses his men to stand guard outside. I fold my arms, fixing him with a glare. "We need your underworld contacts more than ever. Marcus was just taken from the cops by a group in black SUVs. You must have leads. People talk in your circles." Alexander rubs the back of his neck. "They're talking, but not enough. Some rumor says a foreign faction might be operating in the city, snatching certain high-value individuals. Others claim it's an internal breakaway group from my own ranks." His voice is strained. "I'm trying to piece it together. Right now, it's all inconclusive." My heart twists. "And Lori? Could the same faction have her?" He exhales, flicking his gaze to Jacob. "Possibly. It's also possible she was taken by an entirely separate group, aiming to rattle me or you. The city's underworld is fracturing. Rivalries that were dormant are re-emerging." Jacob's jaw tenses. "Then unify them or get them in line. We can't have random kidnappings run wild while we sit on our hands." Alexander's eyes flash. "Don't think I'm not trying. With Ivan incapacitated and now half awake ranting about madness, my hold is precarious. I'm balancing 1,000 crises." I blow out a breath, some of my anger dissipating into a weary acceptance that he's in over his head. "We appreciate your efforts," I say carefully, "but Lori is priority. If your men hear anything, you call me day or night. Understood?" He nods, posture rigid. "Understood." We gather what little intel we can, which is basically none. My frustration simmers, but I can't deny that even Alexander is in the dark. The mention of a foreign faction or a breakaway group echoes ominously. Realizing we won't get immediate solutions, Jacob and I leave after half an hour, the tension thick enough to choke on. Back home, exhaustion weighs down my limbs. The day has been an avalanche of revelations. Marcus's meltdown, the idea of unknown captors controlling him, Alexander's admission of sabotage within the underworld. I slump onto the living room couch, letting my eyes drift shut for half a heartbeat. But peace remains elusive. My phone refuses to stay silent, buzzing with texts from Stone Hospital staff. In a wave of resolve, I stand again, ignoring the ache in my muscles. We need to handle the board too, I mutter. They're apparently freaking out over more negative press. Enough is enough. Jacob's brow furrows. You just got home. You should rest. I shake my head, each fiber in me bristling with purpose. No, the board's stance on Lori's abduction, or the new swirl of rumors, is crucial. We can't let them fold under fear. They might hamper the search or block resources if they're spooked by scandal. He crosses his arms, but not in defiance, more protective exasperation. All right, but take it easy. I can't have you collapsing from stress. Despite everything, a small smile quirks my lips. I'll do my best. We call an emergency video conference with key board members and a handful of Stone Hospital's senior staff. Julia logs in from her office, Harriet from home, plus a few others. Their faces fill the screen in mosaic squares. I waste no time. I know you're worried about more negative publicity, but Lori is not just some random volunteer. She's part of our family. Trixa is missing too. We must direct every resource to find them, hush or no hush. One older board member tries to caution. We can't be seen meddling in personal matters. After the sabotage fiasco, any misstep... Misstep? I snap, throat tightening with anger. A beloved staffer is kidnapped. My father is on a violent rampage, and Trixa's disappearance is linked to him. This is all connected to Stone Hospital's reputation, whether you like it or not. Julia's voice is calm, yet firm. We want to help, Nyla. It's just that the hospital finances are finally recovering. Some members worry a large-scale private search will siphon resources. I stiffen. Then consider this an ultimatum. Support me or leave the board. We're not turning a blind eye to the abduction of our people. Stunned silence hits the call. Harriet's gaze flicks to the side, then she nods slowly. You're right. Enough dithering. We'll back you up. Let's pool personal funds if needed. Keep official finances separate. But we'll do it. We can't wash our hands of staff in danger. Relief washes over me. Thank you, I say, meaning it. And I'm not reclaiming the CEO chair right now. My baby and the search for my friends come first. But I want your pledge to do everything possible to assist the investigation. They murmur agreement. I sense pockets of fear, but they're overshadowed by a reluctant acceptance. Good. If they waffle, I'll push them out. No regrets. After the call ends, I slump onto the couch, letting my phone fall against the cushion. Jacob stands near the window, arms crossed, silhouette etched by the city lights. You're unstoppable when you're protective, he murmurs, faint admiration in his tone. My chest tightens, tears pricking. I can't lose more people I care about. He steps over and sinks onto the couch next to me. We share a quiet moment, letting the exhaustion settle in. Outside, the sky darkens, city lights blinking on one by one. I try to quell the dread gnawing at my insides, the sense that we're dancing on the rim of a volcano. Night settles heavily, like a thick blanket over the penthouse's windows. I pace the living room, refusing to even change into comfortable clothes, as if any second I might dash out the door if a new lead arises. Jacob orders dinner, but I barely touch the plate, stomach too knotted. He tries to coax me, pointing out the baby's needs, so I force down a few bites, all the while scanning online chatter about the newly overshadowed sabotage fiasco and orchard shootout. The city's attention fixates on Marcus's meltdown. Some conspiracy theorists claim there's a big underworld faction behind everything. Others blame me, still. I grit my teeth, ignoring them. Then, close to midnight, my phone rings. The number is blocked. My heartbeat stutters. I glance at Jacob, who sets aside his own phone and crosses to me in 2 quick strides. With a shaky breath, I answer, pressing the device to my ear. At first, I hear nothing but a ragged breath. Then, a rasping voice I recognize in the marrow of my bones. Nyla? My pulse spikes. Marcus? My voice emerges as little more than a strangled whisper. An ugly laugh crackles on the line. You thought you could watch me crumble? You thought that fiasco at the warehouse ended me? Another harsh laugh. Think again. My lungs feel too small. Where are you? I keep my tone as steady as I can manage, though adrenaline surges. Jacob's eyes widen, brow furrowed as he tries to glean clues from my expression. Marcus ignores my question, spitting out venom-laced words. This city is a nest of traitors. You, your fiancé, Trixa, you all turned your backs. I gave you everything once. Now you'll pay. My stomach twists, rage and sorrow colliding. You framed me, orchestrated sabotage. You nearly ruined my life. My hand trembles around the phone. Stop this insanity. He exhales a ragged breath, the line crackling with tension. Insanity? Let's talk about Trixa, about Lori. They're lost to you. You'll never find them, not with your feeble attempts. The men who hold them, or the men who hold me. It doesn't matter. The game is bigger than you know. Cold dread prickles over my skin. What do you mean? Where are they? He chuckles hollow. You want answers? Keep searching. You'll only find dead ends. The next time you poke the hornet's nest, it might sting back. Hard. My free hand flies protectively to my abdomen. You threatened me and my baby once. Don't even think. Threatening? He cuts me off with a sneer. I promised you a reckoning. Don't be naive. One victory in court doesn't absolve your betrayal. His voice lowers, dripping with malice. I always get the last move, Nyla. Always. Jacob edges closer, placing his hand on my shoulder in silent support. My throat feels parched, but I grit out. Marcus, you're outnumbered. The entire city knows you're out of control. Surrender before more blood is spilled. A short, cruel laugh echoes. Outnumbered? I have new associates. Let's see how you handle that. Sleep well, daughter, if you can, because it's far from over. With a click, the line goes dead. I remain frozen, phone pressed to my ear, a tremor gripping my entire frame. Jacob squeezes my shoulder, voice tight. He's working with new allies, isn't he? I nod, swallowing hard. My mind replays each hateful word. He said I'll never find Trixa or Lori. My nails bite into my palm, tears blurring my vision. He's unhinged, but not alone. That's the worst part. Jacob drags a hand over his face, frustration pouring off him. We'll escalate the search. We can't let him or whoever took him block us from Trixa and Lori. I don't care how big these criminals think they are. A shaky exhale leaves my lips. He threatened my baby again, or came close to it. Called me a betrayer. God, Jacob. He's lost all reason. My belly flutters in alarm, the baby reacting to my stress. I try to steady myself, placing a palm over my abdomen. It's all spiraling. Jacob draws me in, hugging me with fierce protectiveness. My forehead rests against his shoulder, and I fight back tears that burn hot behind my eyelids. We keep going, he murmurs, voice raw with determination. He can't hide forever. These men that took him, eventually we'll find out who they are, one threat at a time. I let him hold me, letting the wild gallop of my heart gradually slow. The phone call replays in my head. Marcus's ragged laughter, the promise that Trixa and Lori remain lost to me. He was so confident, so certain that I'd fail. It stokes both my terror and my defiance. At length, I pull back, glancing into Jacob's eyes. Tomorrow, we redouble efforts with Alexander. We search every lead, even the darkest corners. If there's an underworld conspiracy, I want to expose it. He nods, brushing a tear from my cheek. We will. No matter how many closed doors we have to break through. For a moment, we stand in the hush of the penthouse, the city lights winking outside the windows. In the reflection of the glass, I see two tired figures clinging to each other. My father's meltdown, the unknown men intercepting him from the police, the anguish of not knowing if Lori is alive or Trixa is anywhere safe. The burden weighs heavy enough to crush me if I let it, but I can't let it. Not while there's a baby who depends on me to keep pushing. I shut my eyes, inhaling the faint, comforting scent of Jacob's cologne. The day began with frantic attempts to hire investigators, scanning every corner for clues about Trixa and Lori, culminating in a nightmare broadcast of Marcus attacking cops before vanishing with a sinister crew. Now the final blow. A phone call reminding me he's still at large, forging new alliances, vowing unstoppable vengeance. I hang up, trembling. This is beyond what I imagined. I was so sure my father was cornered. Instead, the entire city's in deeper chaos. Jacob's arms tighten around me. Chaos or not, we face it together. My shoulders slump, but I nod, letting his words anchor me. Yes, I whisper. A spark of weary resolve nestles in my chest. My father can rave about conspiracies. The city can swirl with rumors. I won't stop until I bring Lori and Trixa home. I sink into Jacob's arms, tears in my eyes, heart pounding with fresh terror. The night is dark, but my will is unbroken. Tomorrow I throw all caution aside, no more living in fear. I'll do whatever it takes to find the people ripped from me and keep my child safe from a father who's become an utter stranger.
Chapter 350. Alexander. I wrench the drapes open, letting a spike of pale dawn pierce the dimness of my office. The hush before sunrise usually calms me. A fleeting time of day where the city still dozes, oblivious to the next rounds of violence and betrayal. But today, the early light only exposes the chaos under my roof. My men are restless. The old Sokolov Guard, steeped in ruthless tradition, refuses to respect my attempts at a more calculated, legitimate approach. Their rumblings have grown bolder. Some openly wonder if I've gone weak, mentioning names like Oleg with more respect than they show me. I stare at my reflection in the large window. The city just a haze of pastel and gray behind the glass. My collar feels strangling, though I'm not wearing a tie. For a moment, I imagine stepping out of these polished floors, out of this mansion, walking away from an empire I never truly wanted. But then I recall Lori's tearful laugh when she once teased me about my brooding, and the thought collapses under the weight of her disappearance. I can't walk away, not while she's out there, captive to a group that used a bomb and a handful of sneering threats to prove they can break me if I try to rescue her. A gentle knock rouses me from that swirl of self-pity. Olya steps in, posture rigid, voice subdued. Alexander, there's an urgent summons from the medical wing. It's about Ivan. I spin so quickly that the ache in my ribs flares. My dethroned uncle, the man whose savage brand of leadership I displaced, has been comatose or heavily sedated for weeks since his kidnapping and subsequent bombings. Last I heard, he was unresponsive, drifting in delirium. If he's awake, it means trouble, or maybe an answer. My heart pounds with a twisted blend of dread and hope. Is he Coherent? I demand, crossing the room in brisk strides. Olya's gaze flickers with uncertainty. Coherent might be too strong a word. The staff says he's ranting, calling for you. Something about the end of your reign. A jolt of cold anger sparks beneath my ribs. Ivan never gave me an easy day in my life. Even comatose, the mere mention of him, can stir my empire's loyalty fractures. All right, I snap. I will go. Olya nods, stepping aside. We make our way through the mansion's winding corridors. The estate feels tense, guards stationed at intervals, exchanging uneasy glances as we pass. My eyes roam every corner, half expecting Oleg or one of his old loyalists to ambush me. But no one stirs. The hush is heavy, broken only by distant footsteps. We descend a side staircase to the medical suite, an area we converted after I toppled Ivan's regime. The air is sterile, lightly scented with disinfectant. A single overhead lamp illuminates a door guarded by 2 of my men. They straighten at my approach, nodding to Olya before letting me inside. I step into the cramped chamber, greeted by a swirl of medicinal odor and the beep of a single monitor. Ivan lies on a narrow bed, a wiry nurse flanking him. At the sight of me, his eyes snap open, bloodshot and fierce. His hair, once kept meticulously short, has grown into a grizzled tangle. Dark circles bruise the skin under his eyes. He bares his teeth, half snarl, half laugh. "Alexander," he rasps. "You finally remembered your dear uncle, yes?" I clench my jaw, crossing the small space to stand at his bedside. Olya lingers near the door, watchful. The nurse shifts uncomfortably, unsure whether to remain or flee. I glance at her. "Leave us," I say, voice low. She sets down a clipboard and slips out, relief plain on her face. Ivan tries to push himself upright. His limbs wobble, but bitterness fuels him. I watch with a numb sort of pity as he steadies on one elbow, sweat beading along his temple. He was once the unstoppable tyrant who lorded over the entire Sokolov clan. Now, he looks ravaged by captivity and sedation. But behind his feverish stare, I recognize the same old cunning spark. "I hear you're failing, nephew," he says. "Your men walk away. Your dear friend is taken." His lips curl in a sneer. "The end is coming, boy." A flash of rage bubbles in me, but I quell it. "You should rest, uncle," I say softly. "Your time ended when you let the Empire rot under your violence. I took charge to avoid all-out destruction. Or have you forgotten?" He hacks a wheezing laugh. "Destruction, yes, but it's still coming. I've seen it. You think you dethroned me? Fate dethroned me for a moment, but it's hungry for your blood next." He claws at my shirt, surprising me with a sudden lunge. The fervor in his eyes sends a chill skittering up my spine. I pry his fingers away, ignoring the strong urge to strike him down. He's too frail for me to justify violence, however. "Calm yourself," I hiss. "You're delirious." "I saw a demon," he breathes, voice trembling. "A figure from the old days, a man who should have died. He's real, Alexander. Step aside." Ivan's eyes dart around, as though seeing phantoms in the corners of the room. "If you refuse, everything burns. Your precious half-legitimate empire, your illusions, your woman, all turned to ash." My heart pounds, a wave of cold sweat trickling down my spine. Lori flits across my mind, bound and terrified. "Who is this demon, uncle?" I demand, Name him. He just shakes his head, trembling, expression twisted with terror. He hunts. He waits. I heard him speak in the darkness, or maybe it was my own mind unraveling. But he's coming for your seat, and you cannot stop it. I sense Olya shift near the doorway, presumably unsettled. Swallowing a surge of apprehension, I snap at him. Raving about ghosts changes nothing. If you have real intel, speak it. If not, rest and let me handle the Empire. Ivan's face contorts with frustration. You fool. You've let compassion rot your instincts. War is at your gates. I told you, there's only one who can stand in that war. Then a fit of coughing racks him, forcing him to slump back. Flecks of spittle glisten on his chin, and he scowls at me. End of your reign, nephew. The end. I watch him for a moment, a swirl of pity and anger tangling in my chest. We'll see, I mutter. Get some rest. Before he can spit more curses, I signal Olya to follow me out. My mind whirls with every step, Ivan's half-coherent warnings echoing like a cursed prophecy. A demon from the old days, a figure who should have died. Possibly just hallucinations from sedation and fear. But we've encountered too many shadows to dismiss anything outright. When we re-enter the corridor, Olya glances at me with concern. He's not stable. Should we sedate him again? I blow out a breath. No. If he's delirious, sedation changes nothing. Let him rant. Maybe he'll drop something useful. My eyes flick to the hallway's end. But keep a guard on him. If word of his condition gets out, half the old guard might try to reinstate him, or the other half might kill him for good. She nods, expression grim. Understood. We continue upstairs, tension crackling. The day has barely started, and my phone already vibrates incessantly with messages from watchers at the gate. I pass a mirror in the corridor, glimpsing my reflection. Unsettled eyes, a tightness around my mouth I can't ease. The mention of my woman from Ivan's lips stings. Lori is out there, maybe in mortal danger, while I wrestle ghosts at home. A short while later, I'm in my estate's main hall. The high windows flood the room with daylight, illuminating the green marble floors. My men line the walls, posture alert. Today is the day Oleg arrives, presumably to test my authority. Once he was merely a subordinate, but rumors say he's stirring the older loyalists, fueling the breakaway faction, maybe even coordinating kidnappings to undermine me. I breathe out, bracing as Dmitri steps in to announce Oleg's arrival. He's here, boss, Dmitri murmurs, but he's refusing a standard meeting. He's cursing that you've lost your way. A growl rises in my throat. Where is he? Dmitri's eyes flick away. In the lower conference room. He demanded a private audience. He's not alone, but we forced his men to wait outside. I nod, feeling the slow coil of anger gather in my gut. Let's see how this plays out. I motion for Dmitri to lead. The walk to the lower conference room is short, tense. We pass guards posted every few yards, their expressions mirroring the swirl of worry I feel. The corridor ends at a heavy oak door. Dmitri opens it, letting me inside. Oleg waits near a long table, arms crossed, scowling. The moment I enter, his lip curls in disdain. Alexander, he says, in a mocking lilt. So you remember your old Sokolov roots enough to see me face to face. I step forward, ignoring the churn in my gut. You demanded this meeting. What do you want? He lets out a derisive laugh. I want you to step aside, or at least give up your foolish meddling with Stone Hospital's legitimate expansions. The men are restless. We belong in the shadows, controlling the city's underbelly without playing nice for the authorities. My teeth grind. That was Ivan's reign. It brought a target on our backs. We're shifting tactics, forging alliances. Or have you forgotten the fiasco that nearly destroyed us all? He spits on the polished floor. We were unstoppable until you tried to buddy up with those hospital bigwigs. And look where it's gotten you. Enemies everywhere. Your friend snatched. Your men leaving in droves. Soon you'll be dethroned, just like Ivan. But less gracefully. Rage flares, but I keep my tone measured. You speak big words, Oleg, but your breakaway group doesn't scare me. If you have a hand in Lori's kidnapping, speak it now, or I'll tear it out of you. He glares, his eyes cold. You lost the right to question me, boy. You're no leader. Real Sokolov men follow strength. He smirks nastily. What strength do you have left? Can't even keep your woman safe. My vision reddens. Where is she? I snarl. Tell me. Oleg spreads his hands, feigning innocence. I don't have her, but I know enough to guess you'll never see her again. The group that took her probably has deeper roots than your pathetic alliances. He chuckles. That orchard attack and that bombing was the tip of the iceberg. A wave of fury surges, unstoppable. I lunge forward, grabbing him by the collar. The table screeches, Oleg stumbling. He tries to raise a fist, but I'm fueled by weeks of frustration. My first punch snaps his head sideways, blood spurting from his lip. Dmitri steps forward in alarm, but I ignore him, landing another blow that cracks across Oleg's jaw. Oleg coughs, laughing through the blood. Yes, that's it. Show me your savage side. At least we'll see some real Sokolov spine. His taunt only fans the flames. I slam him back into the wall, the side of his skull hitting with a nauseating thud. You dare mock me! I hiss. When you and your cronies undermine everything I built? My pulse roars. I land a punch to his gut, hearing him wheeze. Where is Lori? Where? He spits blood at me, eyes defiant. I'm not your informant. Even if I knew, I wouldn't talk. Another sneer, more blood trickling from his split lip. You'll fall soon enough. Betrayals are coming from every corner. You'll watch that sweet Lori die, or vanish forever, and you'll deserve it. My vision tunnels. I yank him off the wall and hurl him across the table, papers scattering. He lands hard, gasping, but still laughing that hollow, cruel laugh. Fury wraps around my chest like barbed wire. I stride forward, ignoring Dmitri's urgent call. Gripping Oleg by the hair, I slam him face first into the edge of the table. Warm blood splashes, the tang of iron hitting my nostrils. He groans, sagging, but I see the smirk still twisting his mouth. She's gone, he breathes, voice garbled from a broken nose. That attack was just the start. You'll bleed out, Sokolov. The old guard or the new power, doesn't matter. You can't protect her. Rage blinds me. My hand finds a blade strapped to my belt, a relic from the old days. I press the cold metal to Oleg's throat, tears of fury pricking at the corners of my eyes. If he dies, maybe I end one traitor's threat, but maybe I lose any chance of a lead. My hand shakes from the conflict. The memory of Lori's soft laugh, twisting the blade deeper into my heart than his. I lean in, voice trembling with hate. One more word, and I'll paint these walls with your blood. His gaze flickers, a hint of fear crossing his battered features. but a twisted grin remains. Go ahead. Prove you're just a savage like your uncle. Then the others will see your so-called legitimacy is a farce. Blood runs from his temple, spattering the table edge. Kill me, and watch your empire devour itself. I press the blade enough to break his skin, a thin rivulet of blood trailing down his neck. Dimitri's urgent footfalls thunder behind me. Boss, he pleads, voice tight. Don't do it. He's not worth it. You'll have no leverage if he's dead. My breath comes in ragged gasps. The blade trembles at Oleg's throat. The swirl of hatred threatens to swallow me. But Dimitri's words wedge through the red haze. Killing Oleg in blind fury might doom everything. I close my eyes, battling for control, the baby's future, Lori's life, even the shaky path I've chosen to steer the Sokolov name into some semblance of order. All would be jeopardized if I revert to Ivan's brutality here. Slowly, my hand eases off the blade. Oleg sags, coughing blood onto the table. I take a shaky step back, adrenaline scorching my veins. Dimitri exhales relief, stepping in to push Oleg's battered form upright. The man coughs, wincing but still wearing that mocking grin. I barely hear Dimitri's orders to 2 guards to haul Oleg away. They'll lock him in the estate's lower holding cell. The dungeon, we call it, behind closed doors. I can't let him roam free. He's too dangerous, stoking too many fires among the men. Dimitri's eyes meet mine, silently acknowledging the blood spatter on the table, the savage violence that nearly ended in a corpse. When the guards drag Oleg out, I remain there, chest heaving, fists coated in sticky crimson. My reflection in the polished table is that of a monster. So much for the holier-than-thou approach, as if my attempt at legitimacy had truly changed me. Under enough pressure, I'm still capable of savage acts. A wave of self-loathing hits me, but a flicker of defiance remains. I'll do whatever it takes to save Lori, to keep the Empire stable, and if that means brutality, so be it. Dimitri steps to my side, voice quiet. Boss, we can interrogate him more thoroughly later. For now, you should clean up. The men need to see you in control, not shaken. I grunt, wiping my knuckles on a cloth Dimitri hands me. The smell of blood lingers, turning my stomach. He said we'll never see Lori again, I mutter. He claims the attack was just the start, that we're on the brink of betrayal. Dimitri's jaw tightens. We'll handle him. We'll handle them all. The bombing cost us men and reputation, but we still have loyal soldiers. We can track these breakaway groups. We won't give up until we find her. My nod is curt, weary. Very well. For now, lock Oleg in the dungeon. I want him guarded. No one in or out without my permission. He affirms, heading off to see it done. I'm left in the disheveled conference room, the table spattered with Oleg's blood. I swallow a surge of bile, forcing myself to stand straighter. My phone buzzes, an annoyed beep reminding me of the scheduled meeting with a handful of men loyal to me in stone. Shaking off the adrenaline, I step out, ignoring the twinge in my battered knuckles. We gather in a different, more formal conference room above ground, away from the stench of fresh violence. The men who sit around the polished table are a mix. A couple from Stone Hospital's security side, a few of my top enforcers, plus Dimitri returning from locking up Oleg. Tension webs across the group. They've all heard the scuffle. I keep my posture composed, not explaining the blood speckled on my shirt sleeve. I fold my arms, scanning them. We suspect the same group that snatched Marcus from the police might be linked to the faction holding Lori. We can't confirm. Our priority is intel, where they're headquartered, how they coordinate. We must unravel this before they come for us again. One of the Stone associates, a wiry man named Henrik, clears his throat. The hospital stands ready to provide discreet resources. We have a wide network of staff who overhear rumors in the city's wards. If these criminals seek medical help or share drunken boasts, we might catch wind. I nod sharply. Good. We need every rumor. Also, keep an eye on Trixa's name. She vanished under suspicious circumstances. There's no way she's mentally unstable. She might be held by the same forces, or different. We can't rule it out. Another soldier of mine, Leon, flips through notes. We traced one lead to a set of abandoned apartments near the canal. Nothing. Another rumored stash near the train yard, also empty. They're ghosts, boss. I grip the edge of the table. Then we become bigger ghosts, tracking them until they show a crack. Marcus is in their hands. If they want to use him, they'll surface eventually. A hum of agreement circles the table, though I sense the men's nerves. My voice stays firm. We can't falter. If the attack taught us anything, it's that the city's underworld can shift overnight. We adapt or die. Dmitri chimes in. We maintain watchers at strategic sites. Stone Hospital, the Orchard Grounds, the known safe houses. If these criminals come sniffing around, we catch them. I incline my head. Yes. Any more updates? Silence. The men exchange glances, none volunteering additional leads. My jaw tightens. Then keep searching. Dismissed. They file out, leaving me alone with Dmitri. He lingers, scanning my face. You sure you're fine, boss? That outburst with Oleg was intense. I clamped down the flicker of regret. He had it coming. We needed a reminder of who leads. If he tries to incite more men, we'll do worse. Dmitri studies me a moment, then nods, though a shadow crosses his eyes. Understood. He heads for the door, pausing. What about Ivan? I clench my fists again, recalling my uncle's wide-eyed mania. I'll check on him once more. Dmitri dips his head and exits. Sighing, I roll my shoulders, trying to release the coiled tension. The day has soared past midday, or so the window's angle of light suggests. My stomach growls, but I can't even think of food. A bigger demon gnaws at my mind. If Oleg is the tip of the iceberg, if there's a bigger force orchestrating these kidnappings, Marcus, Trixa, Lori, then we're all pawns in some game I barely comprehend. I climb the stairs to the upper wing, where Ivan's recovery suite lies. The corridor is quieter now. The nurse posted outside sees me approach and looks nervous. He's calmer, sir, she says softly. But still, delirious. I push open the door, steel in my spine. Ivan sits upright in bed, knees drawn up, a ragged blanket clutched in his hands. At first, he doesn't notice me. He's scribbling frantically on a scrap of paper, muttering to himself. The overhead lamp illuminates his battered features, the hollows under his cheekbones. He looks up as I step in, eyes flicking with a spark of recognition. Back again, he says, voice low. Curious about your doom, nephew? He tries to sneer, but his exhaustion is obvious. I ignore his barbs, striding to the bed. What are you writing? I glance at the paper in his lap, noticing repeated scribbles, some letters. maybe a name scrawled in a shaky hand. The lines overlap, forming a dark mass of ink. My eyes catch a partial word, something foreign, or a name I don't recognize. You think that name will scare me? I ask quietly. His gaze lifts, lips twisting in a grimace. He must rule, or it's over. Ivan intones, voice trembling. I told you. Let him in. Let him take the throne. It's the only way. A chill races through me. You keep speaking of a he. Who is this man? A ghost from the past? Another relic from your old alliances? My words come out clipped, but inside, I'm unsettled by his conviction. He makes a sharp, derisive sound. You think I babble nonsense, but I saw. His eyes, like black pits. He's unstoppable. I was a speck of dust in his path. Yvonne's breath shudders, and he draws the blanket tighter. Your empire is a toy for him to break, and your precious watchers, your illusions, meaningless. Frustration and an odd tendril of fear coil in my chest. Stop it! I snap, grabbing the edge of the bed. If he's real, name him. If not, swallow your ghost stories. Ivan just stares at me, something like pity in his ravaged expression. I can't name the dead, he whispers, but you'll meet him soon. A demon resurrected, or maybe a living nightmare. Either way, your time is short. He breaks into a fit of coughing, sputtering for air. My teeth clamp together. Half of me wants to fling away his warnings as the ramblings of a delirious old man. The other half can't ignore the consistent dread in his voice. Rest, I force out, stepping back. I have no patience for riddles. If you want to be useful, speak plainly. He shakes his head, sinking into the pillows, scribbling that name again in spidery lines. My eyes flick over the black swirl, but the shape is unreadable. With a bitter scoff, I turn and exit. Outside, the nurse hovers, brow knitted. He's feverish, she says softly. I'll administer medication to calm him. I nod curtly, striding away. The corridor feels suffocating, as if Ivan's words cling to the walls. Demon. Resurrected. He must rule or it's over. I despise how those phrases echo. My phone buzzes in my pocket, but I ignore it for a few steps, trying to regroup. Finally, I check the screen. Another message from Dmitri about possible sightings near the canal. Nothing concrete. Another from one of Stone Hospital's staff about hush rumors. Chaos from every angle. Stepping into a side lounge, I steady my breathing. If Oleg's right, multiple betrayals loom. If Ivan's right, a demon from the old Sokolov nightmares might be rising. Meanwhile, Lori remains captive, possibly with the same group that abducted Marcus. My empire's unraveling, and I'm stuck mending it with scotch tape. This is not how I pictured my reign. Flicking the phone screen off, I gather my composure. One crisis at a time, I murmur under my breath. Oleg's locked in the dungeon, battered and refusing to yield. Ivan's half mad. My men remain loyal enough for now, but for how long? If we don't rescue Lori soon, or if these rumored traitors outmaneuver me, they might decide I'm no better than Ivan. The bombing taught me that one ambush can shift power in a blink. Glaring at the lounge's reflection of myself in a tall mirror, I vow silently, I will not cave. We'll find Lori if it means turning the city upside down. We'll quash Oleg's breakaway group. We'll decipher Ivan's ravings, even if it leads to the darkest corners of the underworld, because I have no other choice. Eventually, Dmitri appears in the lounge doorway. He looks exhausted, a bandage still at his temple from that steelworks trap. You wanted an update, boss? Any progress? My voice comes out rough. He shakes his head. Just more rumors. That faction that took Marcus is said to be well-funded. Their ties to Oleg's loyalists are unclear. A short pause. And about Lori, nothing new. I stare at the floor, jaw tight. Then we stay the course. We press Oleg when he's recovered from his beating. We keep Ivan under guard. Watch him for any slip of clarity. Meanwhile, our watchers triple-check any lead for Lori. I rake a hand through my hair, forcing the next words out. Thank you, Dmitri. Keep me informed. He dips his head. Alexander. Then he hesitates, voice lowering. I worry about you. The men sense your frustration. Show them you're in control, or they'll assume you're unraveling like Ivan. A bitter laugh escapes me. Let them see me for what I am. I'll prove my strength soon enough. Dmitri's expression is sympathetic, but he says nothing more. Turning to leave, once alone again, I let my hand brush the pistol at my side. The day's events swirl. I nearly murdered Oleg in rage, battered him bloody. Ivan raved about a demon who must rule. My mind throbs with questions, but I have no illusions of respite. The sun's only just crossing midday, and already I feel like a month's worth of battles have been crammed into these hours. Closing my eyes, I envision a time months ago when I believed my empire could become partly legitimate. Forging alliances with Stone Hospital, helping Nyla from the shadows, ensuring my men didn't revolve their lives around gunfire and fear. Now I'm deeper in violence than ever, fighting to reclaim a sense of order while the bombing's aftermath tears open new wounds. Trixa's lost, Derek's half recovered, Lori kidnapped, Marcus snatched by unknowns, and Oleg brandishing rebellion. No path leads out unscathed, but I refuse to watch everything crumble. Straightening my jacket, I exit the lounge, ignoring the dryness in my throat and the heaviness in my chest. The next wave of chaos awaits, but I'll meet it head on. Later that evening, I stand at the top of the main staircase, gazing down at the estate's grand foyer. A hush drapes the space. A line of polished stone columns stands sentinel. My chest aches from the day's battles, both physical and psychological. Men pass in the hallway below, carrying fresh supplies for a vigil around the grounds. The flicker of an overhead chandelier makes me think of blood on Oleg's face. I recall a moment from hours before, when I returned to check on Ivan after the confrontation. That name he scribbled, the scribbles scrawled in trembling fury, still sears in my memory. Letters forming a shape that might be a name or some archaic symbol. I rub my temple, forcing that image away. The attack might have threatened me once, but I overcame it. This so-called demon or figure from the old days, let him come. If he's an actual person rising to challenge me, I'll greet him with bullets or cunning. If he's a myth, I won't cower at a ghost. A final beep from my phone signals a text from Olya. No new developments. The watch is set. Good night. I let out a breath. Good night indeed. Tomorrow I might revisit Oleg in the dungeon, see if he has anything new to say once the pain sets in. Perhaps he'll regret his silence. A twinge of guilt resurfaces. Did I cross a line? But I bury it. A line was crossed the moment they took Lori. Shadows stretch across the foyer as I descend the stairs. My footsteps echo. Thoughts swirl, chaotic. The bombing, the orchard attack, infiltration, kidnappings, breakaway men, stone alliances, Oleg's sneer, Ivan's warnings. My chest feels like a forge, hammered by blows of doubt and rage. Stepping outside onto the front terrace, I inhale the crisp evening air. Guards patrol the perimeter, rifles slung across their backs. A stiff breeze rustles the manicured hedges. The city lights twinkle beyond my gates, indifferent to the war smoldering in my yard. For a moment, I close my eyes, letting the wind whip past my face, imagining I can hear Laurie's voice, calling me a fool for letting guilt isolate me from her. If only... I open my eyes. The night is silent, as though waiting. I'll find you. I whisper into the darkness, not sure if I'm addressing Laurie or my own lost sense of direction. I swear it. Turning on my heel, I retreat inside. Ivan's cryptic prophecy tries to cling, but I shrug it off. I have men to rally, watchers to maintain, and in the morning, I'll reassert control. Sokolov brutality if needed. There's no other path. Laurie's life depends on it, as does the Empire's fragile unity. And as I ascend to the upper floors again, the final echoes of Ivan's warning chase me. He must rule, or it's over. A part of me wonders if the chain of betrayals waiting to unfold is bigger than even I can handle. But I banish that thought with a surge of grim resolve. I am still Alexander Sokolov, and I am not so easily broken.
He's the mysterious man I had a fling with last night, and it turns out he's my dad's new boss.
I was getting IVF, but the donor came in and wanted his stuff back. It was too late. Now we're stuck together and I'm having his baby.
Ready to dive into a world where passion meets intrigue, where love knows no bounds.
If I don't find a woman to marry in the next 24 hours, then my entire company is going to be taken from me. There's only one woman I can ask, but she hates me because I ruined her father.
Introducing the Escape Your Life with Romance Book Bundle by Amazon best-selling author Nyla Walker, a collection of 100 standalone romances that promised to sweep you off your feet.
And the best part?
Get 90% off on the whole bundle, baby.
For $99.99, you'll get over 800 hours of pure romance with strong alpha males and sassy women who don't back down.
They can pass all the tariffs they want, ladies. But you won't find this deal for 100 audiobooks for less than $1 each anywhere else.
90 cents per book for all the dirty fun I can handle? How could I say no to that?
Visit TylaWalker.com to grab this bundle today.
Get ready to escape your life
with Miss Nyla.
Chapter 351, Laurie. I stir awake to the crash of surf, its distant roar breaking through the thin veil of my exhausted sleep. For a moment, my mind battles the bizarre sense of peace the sound brings, as if I were on vacation in some tropical paradise. My eyes open, zeroing in on the carved wooden ceiling fan slowly rotating overhead. Its blades push the humid air in lazy circles, stirring the sweet fragrance of blossoms from outside the window. The openness of the space is at odds with the tightness in my chest, because despite how lavish everything looks, I'm more prisoner than guest. I lie there on a bed draped with sheer curtains, blinking away the haze of another restless night. The sheets are a fine cotton that would almost be comforting if not for the reality pressing in on me. I'm trapped on an island I don't recognize, monitored by silent guards who stand watch outside my door, armed and ready to step in if I so much as breathe wrong. Each day since my abduction has bled into the next, the hours marked by the sun's arc across a sky too bright to truly enjoy. Whenever I step onto the patio, I see only the curved line of pristine beach and turquoise water, with no sign of a port, no approach for rescue. I've tried to slip away, twice in fact. The first attempt, I waited until nightfall, snuck down a winding path behind the villa. I didn't get far before a guard caught me, muzzle of his rifle pointed at my chest. He didn't speak a single word, just shook his head and motioned me back. The second attempt, I tried climbing a low cliff at the edge of the property. I made it halfway before hands grabbed me and dragged me back to my room. Neither time did they strike me or even bruise me severely. No, they're careful, but a caged bird can only flutter so much before it tires. Pushing up on my elbows, I rub my arms, noticing faint discolorations from the manhandling. They're not exactly gentle, but they haven't inflicted the kind of violence I might expect from kidnappers. They feed me well. They've given me a private bathroom lined with marble, a walk-in closet with clothes more expensive than anything I've ever owned. All of it feels perverse. I'm pampered in captivity, a doll in a gilded cage. I try to stand, letting my feet slide onto the smooth tile floor. My head throbs with leftover tension from last night's nightmares. I don't know who these people are or what they want with me. The only glimmer of hope I cling to is the rumor I've gleaned from passing guard chatter. They have other captives too, including some old man who rants about revenge. My stomach gives a lurch of longing when I think of them. Alexander, Nyla, Jacob. In the early days here, I prayed a boat or helicopter with the Sokolov seal would appear on the horizon. Or maybe I'd awaken to Jacob's reassuring voice, telling me they'd found me. But days turn to weeks. I think it's weeks. Though I've lost track of time in the unchanging routine of the island. No one came. The guards only shrug or smirk when I demand explanations. If I push too far, they lock me in my suite. I wander to the single large window that overlooks a courtyard of flowering bushes and a manicured lawn. Beyond that, a tall fence and gates block further view. Sometimes, if I press my ear to the door, I catch snippets of conversation that indicate the property is huge, with multiple smaller villas and a fortress-like watchtower. I suspect we're somewhere deep in the ocean, far from major shipping lanes, because I haven't once heard a passing boat motor. I press my palm to the window's glass, scanning the lush greenery. A memory flutters through my mind. The rumor I overheard from a guard yesterday, a rumor about Marcus fighting off the police like a madman, and a mysterious group intercepting him. Another guard chimed in, mocking me with a grin. Old man's insane, but the big bosses want him for something. That was all they said before stepping away, leaving me with a swirling pit in my stomach. My thoughts circle back to Nyla, the friend I swore would never be alone. I cling to a crumb of comfort. I overheard a different guard mention the trial ended in the nurse's favor, spitting it like it was a nuisance. The phrase, "she's exonerated," slipped out of his mouth. Hearing that eased my heart for a breath. So she's free. She and Jacob must be celebrating. Maybe it's the only bright spot in my universe. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I picture them in the stone penthouse, or maybe in their new place, hugging and laughing in relief. I smile at the mental image, but it's a double-edged blade of longing. I'm grateful Nyla overcame that monstrous frame job. My tears pricked with joy when I realized it, but oh how I wish I could share in her moment of triumph instead of pacing this luxurious prison. Drawing a shaky breath, I step away from the window. I head into the adjacent bathroom, a room fit for a 5-star resort. Gold fixtures, imported tiles, fluffy towels. Turning on the faucet, I splash cool water on my face, gazing at my reflection in the mirror. My hair's lost its usual bounce, eyes hollow from countless nights of tension. I look like a half-ghost, yet, ironically, my captors ensure I have top-tier shampoos and lotions. They're determined to keep me comfortable, physically at least. Why? Possibly to break my will through idle pampering, or they want me in good health for whatever twisted plan they have. After washing up, I pad back to the main room. A fresh set of clothes is neatly laid out on the ottoman, presumably by the house staff that sneaks in while I'm asleep or in the shower. The outfit is a light cotton dress, pale blue, fluttery at the sleeves. I roll my eyes at the extravagance, but slip into it anyway. There's no point in refusing. If I resist, they force me or lock me in a closet with no real punishment except isolation. They haven't physically tortured me, though the mental strain is punishment enough. A quiet knock at the door startles me. One of the female attendants stands there, face expressionless. She's middle-aged, wearing a crisp uniform. She bows her head politely. "Breakfast is served on the veranda, miss," she says in a mild voice. "Please follow me." My fists clench. Another day, another forced meal. But I learned early that skipping their meal times draws suspicion. They might decide I'm being difficult. So I nod, stepping out into the hallway. The attendant leads me down a corridor of polished floors, past windows showcasing the island's breathtaking scenery. Rolling gardens, bright hibiscus flowers, towering palm trees swaying in the warm breeze. The air smells of salt and sweet nectar. We emerge onto a covered veranda that overlooks the ocean. A crisp white tablecloth drapes a small table, set with a plate of fresh fruit, pastries, and juice in crystal glasses. 2 guards stand near the perimeter, rifles slung. They don't speak, gazes flicking to me but never offering a greeting. I lower into a chair, eyeing the waves in the distance, the horizon mocking me with its promise of freedom. The attendant pours me orange juice, then steps back to wait at the edge of the veranda. I nibble a slice of papaya, forcing myself to swallow around the lump in my throat. This entire scene is so surreal, like some twisted idyll. The gentle hush of waves, the tang of salt on the breeze, the mouth-watering tropical fruit, these details would enchant me if I weren't trapped. My mind flickers to an alternate scenario where I'm on a real vacation with friends. Instead, I'm caged by men I barely see, existing in a dreamlike kidnapping scenario. Halfway through picking at the fruit, the attendant approaches again, quietly clearing her throat. "Miss Lori, you are requested to remain in your suite until further instructions. There's been an incident in the courtyard." I stiffen, setting my fork down. "What incident?" Her eyes flick away as though she's not allowed to answer. "I only know that you must stay inside. Please." Her voice trembles slightly, betraying a fraction of fear. A spike of hope flares. Maybe an intruder from the outside is rescuing me? But the pragmatic side of me guesses it's just some internal matter. Still, I swallow my curiosity and nod, following her back. The guards flank me, silent as ever. Once in my room, she closes the door and I hear the lock click. Another day, another locked door. I slump onto a chaise lounge near the window, hugging my knees. My thoughts swirl. If there's an incident, does it involve that man? Are these people fighting among themselves? Could it be that Alexander is close by? The kidnappers are too controlled, too confident, they're not scurrying in panic. Time crawls. I doze off in the mid-morning heat, only to jolt awake when I hear voices outside. I rush to the door, pressing my ear to it. Muffled phrases slip through. Vicious old man raving. The boss says keep them separate. Another mention of the old man. My pulse spikes. That has to be Marcus. They're definitely holding him on the island, or at least some old man raving. I strain to catch more, but the voices fade. I pace the room restless. My mind drifts to the last normal day I had before this nightmare. Nyla's worried face as we parted ways at the hospital, her telling me she'd see me later. Now she's exonerated, living a fresh start, while I remain a missing person. Does she even know I was taken? Did Alexander hide it? The ache in my chest intensifies at the thought of him. I cling to memories of his quiet intensity, how he'd watch me with guarded affection. If he's out there, does he blame himself for not safeguarding me better? I hope he doesn't. Yet part of me yearns for him to arrive, unstoppable and furious, to tear these walls down. A sudden rap on the door startles me. The female attendant enters again, though this time her demeanor seems more urgent. "Miss Laurie," she says, not meeting my eyes. "Please, there's a request for you. You must change your attire." She gestures behind her, and I see 2 more staff members with garment bags in hand. I blink, confusion rising. "What do you mean, change my attire? I'm already wearing a decent dress." Her voice softens. "You're to dine with Lucius tonight. He wants you suitably dressed." Lucius? The name is new to me, but it rings ominous. My mouth goes dry. Who is he? She only gives a faint shake of her head. "Please, miss, do as you're told." She motions to the garment bags. One staff member unzips it, revealing a sleek floor-length dress in a deep emerald color, delicate beading across the bodice. It's the kind of dress I'd admire in a boutique window, never thinking I'd own. But wearing it at a kidnapper's summons? My stomach twists. I consider refusing, but the attendant's pleading expression stops me. She's as much a pawn as I am, except maybe her life depends on compliance. With a bitter nod, I let them help me out of my simpler dress. The new one slides over my skin, surprisingly comfortable, though it's far more formal than anything I've worn in ages. The staff comb my hair, pin it into a soft updo. A dusting of makeup, mascara, lip gloss follows. I feel like a doll being readied for a twisted performance. When I'm finished, I catch sight of myself in the mirror. An elegant stranger stares back, eyes uneasy, shoulders taut with dread. The dress clings to my figure, shimmering under the overhead light. The attendant adjusts a delicate necklace around my throat. I can't help a wave of revulsion. Why dress me up? My captors apparently want me to appear refined for this Lucius. Without a word, the staff beckons me to follow. We walk through hallways I haven't seen before, each corridor opening to more elaborate architecture, marble floors, carved pillars, tasteful art on the walls. The hush grows deeper, the air heavy with incense. Finally, we reach a set of French doors that lead outside. Torches flicker beyond the glass, suggesting twilight's arrival. One guard opens the door. The staff steps aside, letting me go on my own. My breath hitches. Past the threshold, the path is lit by small lanterns nestled among exotic plants. The night sky glimmers overhead, faint stars just starting to appear. Soft music drifts from an unseen source. My nerves jangle with every step of my heeled shoes on the polished stone path. 2 guards with rifles stand at the end, gazes forward, ignoring me as though I'm furniture. They part, revealing the beach. The scene would be breathtaking if it weren't so sinister. A stretch of powdery white sand leading to the gently rolling ocean, the horizon painted with dusky orange and purple. Torches line the sand, casting dancing shadows. In the center, a table stands on a flat portion of beach, covered by a pristine tablecloth, set with glimmering crystalware and ornate plates. Nearby, a small dais with scattered cushions suggests a lounge area. The entire setup screams romantic dinner, yet I sense a menace in the details. Armed guards posted discreetly among the palms, their silhouettes betraying the presence of lethal backup. Standing near the table, back turned to me, is a tall figure. Even from behind, I see the impeccable tailoring of his suit, the broad set of his shoulders. My heart hammers. This must be Lucius. A swirl of dread makes my throat tight. Who is he, and why does he want a fancy dinner with me? I approach slowly, the sand soft beneath my heels. He turns as I draw near, revealing a face that strikes me like a blow. He's beautiful in a cold, statuesque way, high cheekbones, a sculpted jaw, hair styled perfectly. But his eyes, they're like frosted glass, reflecting no warmth. If I didn't know better, I'd think I was meeting a high-fashion model. Except the chill in his gaze suggests something else, a predator analyzing its next meal. He greets me with a smooth incline of his head. "Lori," he says, voice low and cultured, as though my name is a pleasant note he's tasting on his tongue. "I've waited to meet you properly." The accent, faintly European or maybe a blend of influences, rolls off his words. I swallow, forcing my chin up. "You must be Lucius." He smiles, revealing perfect teeth. It's not a comforting smile. "Indeed, forgive the abruptness of your summons, but I felt it was time we spoke face to face." He sweeps a hand toward the table. "Sit, please. We have much to discuss." I can't stop a scornful laugh from escaping. What could we possibly have to discuss? The fear in my chest wars with indignation. You had me kidnapped, imprisoned, for days, weeks. Now you want dinner? Lucius arches a brow. An unpleasant introduction, perhaps, but rest assured I intend you no harm if you cooperate. Consider this island a sanctuary from the storms raging on the mainland. His gaze flicks over me, noting the tension in my posture. You look lovely in that dress. I chose it specially. Heat burns in my cheeks, both from anger and the sick feeling of being displayed. Why am I here, I demand. What do you gain from holding me? He steps closer, the torchlight casting sharp shadows across his striking features. Lori, let's keep this civil. You're a valuable piece in a larger puzzle. Your association with certain powerful individuals made you prime leverage. That's all you need to know for now. My pulse bangs in my ears. He's referencing Alexander, obviously. So I'm just a pawn in some bigger scheme. I grip the back of the chair to steady myself. The ocean's gentle hush feels at odds with the tension crackling in my veins. Lucius's gaze sharpens. Yes, a pawn, but pawns can be treated well if they behave. He gestures to the seat. Sit, eat. This island can be quite pleasant. Or, his voice dips, it can be hellish if you try to defy me. Despite the quake in my hands, I lower into the chair, not wanting to provoke him. My eyes flick around. Guards stand at intervals, rifles at their hips. No easy escape. I note the short distance to the water, but that won't help. I'd be shot or tackled before I made it 2 steps. With forced composure, I glare at Lucius. My friends will come for me. You can't hide forever. He picks up a silver wine decanter, filling 2 glasses of a pale golden liquid. Perhaps, but by then, many things can change. He proffers a glass to me. When I don't move to take it, his eyes narrow. Come now, a toast to new acquaintances. Sick revulsion swells in my throat. I pick up the glass with trembling fingers but hold it away from my lips. Don't expect me to toast to kidnapping, I mutter. Lucius's smile doesn't waver, though a flicker of annoyance passes over his features. Let's not be melodramatic. You could be in chains, starved, beaten. Instead, I offer you comfort. That is worth some gratitude, no? I clench my jaw, refusing to dignify that. He raises his glass, sipping as though to demonstrate it's not poisoned. Then he sets it aside, focusing on me with unsettling intensity. I know you tried to escape, twice. Don't bother again. I can make your stay far more restrictive if you do. My anger flares. You're a monster, I whisper, tears prickling. I don't care who you are or how fancy this place is. You're vile. He inclines his head, seemingly amused. I've been called worse by people of greater stature than you, and I'm still standing. His eyes flick to a uniformed attendant who steps forward, placing a dish of roasted vegetables and fresh seafood in front of me, the aroma tantalizing. Lucius motions for me to taste. I remain stone-faced, ignoring the plate. Silence hangs, broken only by the lap of waves and the crackle of torch flames. After a minute, Lucius exhales, feigning disappointment. Lori, your resentment is expected, but let's not degrade this evening. I want you to see that compliance will be rewarded. He leans forward, voice dropping. Rebellion, however, will be punished in ways you can't imagine. A chill wraps around my spine. I'm not some docile pet, I say, forcing my voice to hold steady, no matter how many gourmet meals you throw at me. His chuckle is low, predatory. We'll see, everyone has a threshold. He lifts his wine again, swirling it. Now, be cooperative, or I might have to make an example of you. He stares at me, letting the threat hang in the salty air. My pulse thrums, anger battling terror. The facade of civility here is wafer thin. Even the gentle torchlight fails to hide the shadows in his eyes. He extends his hand, palm up, as if inviting me to place my fingers there. I ignore it, pressing back into my chair. Brave, he murmurs, but foolish. Let me show you something. He snaps his fingers and a guard steps forward. Lucius murmurs an instruction in a language I don't fully recognize. The guard retreats, returning moments later with a small black device the shape of a phone, set it on the table. My heart leaps. My phone? No, it's different. But he slides it toward me. I have connections all across the city. I see everything that happens, Lucius says quietly. Your friend Alexander, he struggles to maintain his empire. He's not coming, Lori. He's mired in betrayals. Meanwhile, your friends are busy looking for Marcus, who is somewhere else, or maybe here. Hard to say. A mocking shrug. Trixa is lost, presumably dead or turned into a mental institution. It's a messy world. Might as well be comfortable here. Tears burn my eyes, but I blink them back. Alexander would never abandon me, I say with conviction. Even if he's forced to wait, I believe in him more than I can bear. Lucius's expression darkens. You place too much faith in him. That can be a fatal flaw. He stands abruptly, pushing his chair back. I've seen enough. If you won't engage politely, you can return to your room. He motions at the plate. Feel free to eat or not, makes no difference to me. We'll talk again soon, once you've reflected on your situation. I bristle, about to hurl another retort, but the sight of two guards stepping closer silences me. My hands clench on my lap, powerless. Lucius leans in one last time, voice ice cold near my ear. A final warning. Disobedience leads to punishment. Understood? My heart hammers. I understand, I whisper, hating my trembling tone. He smirks, pressing a quick callous pat to my shoulder, then gestures for a guard to guide me away from the table. I'm whisked back across the sand, my dress trailing in the dim torchlight. The sky above glitters with stars, mocking me with its open freedom. The hush of the ocean feels like an elegy for my stolen life. I force down a sob. At the edge of the courtyard, one guard yanks open a side gate, revealing a path that leads back to the main house. The attendant who escorted me earlier hurries forward, her gaze lowered, to lead me. We walk in silence, the sweet night air thick with tension. My mind reels with the last few minutes. Lucius is the name of this puppet master, a man with lethal charm and empty eyes who claims I'm better off accepting captivity. A wave of despair crushes me. For the first time, I realize the scale of the power behind him. This isn't a random group of thugs. He has resources, an entire island fortress, an entire network. I'm deep in the lion's den. We reach the hallway. The attendant takes me to my suite's door, opening it politely before slipping away without a word. I step inside, hearing the lock engage behind me. My chest tightens. My breath shudders as I hug myself, walking to the window again, needing fresh air. But the window doesn't open fully, just enough to let the breeze in. The sea glitters beyond the estate's fence, invisible watchers posted on the sand. Tears well up, sliding down my cheeks. I blink them away, furious at my helplessness. For a flicker of a second, I recall Nyla's exoneration, that tidbit I gleaned from a guard's whisper. She must be so relieved, maybe reuniting with Jacob. I want to be happy for her, but bitterness seeps in. I'm not there to cheer with them. I'm stuck in this twisted paradise, forced to wear glamorous dresses and share half a dinner with a man who exudes cruelty from every pore. I cradle my arms, letting the sobs slip free. The overhead lamp casts a warm glow on the marble floor, too pretty for my heartbreak. I think about each friend, each person who might try to find me. Do they even know I'm on an island, under the thumb of someone named Lucius? The phone calls I used to exchange with Alexander or Nyla seem a distant dream. My chest aches with the longing to hear Alexander's calm voice, to feel the fierce protectiveness I once teased him about. Now I'd give anything for that. Padding across the suite, I rip off the emerald dress, tossing it onto a chaise lounge. My reflection in the mirror reveals smudged mascara from tears. I rummage for simpler clothes. They gave me a gauzy nightgown. I opt for that, not caring about modesty. I just want to remind myself I'm still me, not some porcelain figure at Lucius's table. I drop onto the bed, pressing my face into a pillow. My mind replays the dinner scene, the crashing waves, the lavish table, Lucius's low threats. Each detail reminds me how precarious my position is. If I openly rebel, he might do worse than lock me up. I recall the flicker in his eyes when he said, "I'll teach you a lesson." The image of those cold, handsome features twisting in anger is enough to flood me with dread. Somewhere in the estate, men carry rifles, prepared to enforce Lucius's every whim. I imagine how unstoppable he must feel, controlling my every move. The question that haunts me, why me? Possibly because I'm close to Alexander, possibly for leverage, possibly for pure sport. The uncertainty gnaws at me. I push upright, tears drying on my cheeks. The lamp's glow flickers, casting my shadow on the wall. My fists curl in my lap. If I just lie here, I let them break me. I must find a way to glean information, to outsmart them. If I can't break out physically, maybe I can gather intel on the property layout or on the men's routine. But the encounter with Lucius hammered home how carefully they've designed this captivity. I won't easily slip away. Late into the night, the hush thickens. I rest my chin on drawn-up knees, refusing to sleep. My mind clings to a single flicker of hope. If the news of my abduction reached the outside, maybe Alexander is searching, maybe he's forging alliances or even confronting his enemies. Someone might be. Though each passing day saps that hope, I cling to it like a lifeline. I can almost hear Alex's voice. "Hold on, Lori," he might say. "I'm coming. I pray it's not a fool's dream." Eventually, I lie down, body racked by fatigue. The overhead light is too bright, so I switch off the lamp, letting moonlight filter through the window. The sound of the surf becomes a lonely lullaby, reminding me that paradise can be a prison if your freedom is stripped away. Tears slide down my cheeks once more, quiet and desperate. I vow that tomorrow I'll keep my eyes open for any clue. A gate left ajar, a boat at the dock, a careless whisper from a guard about where they keep Marcus or what they plan next. Until then, I muster the last of my strength to stay calm. My hand strays to the bed's edge, gripping the soft duvet. I reflect on that final glimpse of Lucius, how he raised his glass as if to toast my captivity, his eyes glittering with ice. He sees me as a tool or an amusement. The knowledge fuels my anger. I whisper to the darkness, "I will not let him break me." But as exhaustion weighs my eyelids, fear rears up again. Because if he truly is the puppet master behind these kidnappings, who else's strings is he pulling? And how many pieces must fall before someone saves me? Yet even as my mind drifts, that haunting image of Lucius's cold smile lingers. In the hush of this tropical night, I'm trapped somewhere far from home, a caged bird wearing a diamond necklace. I cling to the faint hope that my friends, Nyla, Jacob, Alexander, are out there forging a path to me. But for now, I can only brace for what tomorrow brings, uncertain if I'll endure another forced dinner, another threat-laced conversation. The moon's gentle glow does nothing to ease the terror that I might be all alone in this fight, forced to face a man with a heavenly beauty and a demon's soul, and no rescue in sight.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyler Walker Romances in the Big AF audio bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyler can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit tylerwalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
tylerwalker.com. Escape your life with Tyler.
Chapter 352. Trixa. A cracked length of sun struggles through the dawn's haze, barely illuminating the narrow pathway that snakes between rows of barbed wire fences. Each morning here, the light arrives like a false promise, a distant flare of hope that never manages to touch my corner of the world. The labor camp is a place of exhaustion and forced silence, where rigid schedules and guarded corridors strip every prisoner of self-worth. I learned fast that free will doesn't exist here. Either you do as they say, or they break you in ways you can scarcely imagine. I've been awake for over an hour when the morning horn blares, signaling another endless cycle of toil. Behind me, two women shuffle in threadbare gray uniforms, eyes hollow, shoulders stooped. In front, a guard's tall silhouette marks the day's direction. Follow, don't stray. I push my feet forward, already feeling the rub of ill-fitting work boots that I've worn for who knows how many weeks. Once upon a time, I had a closet of couture and a distinguished name. Now, each day is a fight for survival, and each night a swirl of nightmares. I glance at the guard leading us, searching for even the slightest break in his routine, but his posture remains stiff. He's the strict kind, no banter, no small talk. The armed men, and sometimes women, who watch over us rotate shifts, each personality revealing different shades of cruelty, from the subtle snide remarks that cut the soul to outright physical intimidation. Marcus, my father, though I hesitate to call him that, found a group ruthless enough to run this so-called rehabilitation center. But we all know what it really is, a labor camp disguised as mental therapy. And I'm here because he declared me unwell, a pariah, a liability to his plans, maybe even a threat. To the rest of the world, I've apparently gone insane and was transferred to a top-secret facility for my own good. My lips twist in silent bitterness as I recall how easily he spun that lie. If anyone from the outside tried to investigate, they'd find a neat paper trail. Trixa Swan, psychologically unfit, recommended for long-term care. The real truth? Marcus wanted me out of the way, permanently if he could manage it. This camp is presumably his method of disposal where broken souls vanish, never returning to question his monstrous deeds. A thick iron gate screeches open, letting us into the main yard. The yard used to be farmland, from what I've gleaned in overheard conversations. Now we're forced to maintain rows of produce and livestock, shipped off to line pockets of whoever funds this operation. My chore today is the same as it's been for the past 3. cleaning feed troughs in the pig enclosure. I'm led across broken concrete to a chain-link fence, where a surly supervisor waits with a scuffed notepad. He checks my name off a scribbled list, his eyes lingering with faint contempt. "About time," he mutters. "We're behind schedule. Get in there, and if you slow down, you miss lunch." His voice is taut with boredom and an undercurrent of menace, something I've come to expect from every official here. I say nothing, stepping inside the enclosure. The stench hits me ripe, earthy, but I've grown used to it. This is hardly the worst the camp offers. Here, among squealing pigs, is ironically where I find a shred of calm. The animals don't lie, don't pretend. They're hungry, they make noise, they crave basic needs. I can relate. I gather the necessary tools from a battered cart, a metal pail, a stiff brush, some cheap gloves. The troughs stretch across half the pen, caked with mud and feed remains. Kneeling, I start scrubbing, letting the physical labor distract me from the ache in my chest. My arms soon burn, but the bigger torment is in my mind. Derek's face. I can't stop picturing him handsome, kind, sometimes frustrating, always supportive to Jacob. We parted not so long ago, but it feels like a lifetime. He was shot. I never got the final story. Was he in even more danger? Is he alive? I have no answers, only the raw longing in my heart that begs for him to be okay. I blink away tears, focusing on the repetitive scrape-splash of cleaning. If I show weakness, the guards might pounce, might call me unstable again. And I need to keep my wits about me. I'm thinking of Nyla's baby as well. Is Nyla free? It's the only thing that keeps me pushing through each day, that remote possibility I might escape or be saved and find Derek and Nyla. That thought alone lifts me from despair, though just barely. Sun climbs higher, beating down on the open pen. My clothes stick to my back, sweat trickling down my spine. A bell clangs from a distant tower, marking midday. Only 4 hours until the shift changes. Maybe a tiny break in the schedule. My stomach clenches at the memory of last night's plan. I bribed a timid guard with the only currency I have, some cigarettes I managed to loot from a maintenance worker's jacket, and a small gold earring from the days when I had valuables. He agreed reluctantly to let me use his cell phone for 2 minutes at best. 2 minutes that might change everything, or at least let me get word out to someone, anyone, that Trixa Swan is alive, not insane, and stuck in forced labor. I finish scrubbing, stepping back as the pigs crowd in, snorting at the newly cleared trough. A guard outside the fence flicks a glance at me but doesn't intervene. My body is exhausted, my arms trembling, but there's no rest. The supervisor barks an order. "Move to the next enclosure. Hurry!" No time for water. No time to breathe. I push through the gate, heading for the next set of tasks. A few hours later, the shift horn blares again, signifying midday break. The other women and I march in single file across dusty ground toward a covered area with a few tables, allegedly for lunch. I catch no more than a piece of bread and watery soup. But it's enough to keep me going, so I swallow every drop. My gaze slides around, scanning for the guard I bribed. His name's Mitch, I think. Short, jumpy eyes, not one of the top enforcers. He's vulnerable, and that's my opening. If all goes well, I'll slip out during the next lull, away from prying eyes, and dial 911 or whoever picks up. It's a desperate plan, but desperation is all I have. Sure enough, Mitch stands near a post checking his watch. He looks anxious, glancing occasionally at a tall, black-uniformed officer who paces the yard. I stand, feigning a need to dispose of my lunch scraps, and meander closer to him. My heart pounds so loudly I'm sure the entire yard can hear. He notices me approach, and an instant flush of panic crosses his features. "Not now," he hisses under his breath. "They're all over." I lean in slightly, keeping my head down. "Then when?" I whisper. "You promised. My shift ends in 3 hours. I need that call." His gaze flicks left, right. "Okay, after shift, in the supply shed behind the orchard. I'll wait for you 15 minutes, max. If you get caught, I know nothing." I dip my head once in acknowledgement, then I slip away, returning to the table. My nerves crackle. 15 minutes. That's longer than I hoped. But how to vanish for that long without suspicion? The orchard is a bit away from the pig enclosures. If I can claim I'm fetching something for the supervisor, maybe they won't track me too closely. The rest of the midday break passes in stifling tension. Every second feels like an hour, my mind racing with the question, what do I even say if someone picks up? Hello, I'm Trixa Swan, abducted by father's associates in a forced labor camp with no name or address. Please save me. The operator might think I'm a crank, yet I have to try. The thought of contacting Derek or Nyla or even the Stone family brings tears to my eyes. Damn it, if only I have their number. But 911 is the best second choice. If I can't pinpoint my location, maybe I can at least give them names, descriptions, anything that leads them here. The shift resumes. I'm assigned to orchard cleaning, ironically the area near the supply shed. Luck, or maybe fate. I gather supplies, machetes for clearing brush, gloves, and a battered hat to shield my face from the sun. Over my shoulder, a guard I barely recognize trudges behind me. This one is bigger, with a nasty scar along his jaw. He keeps watch while I hack at overgrown weeds among stunted orange trees. The orchard is a sorry excuse for farmland, many plants dried or half-eaten by insects. But the camp leaders want to salvage something, so we hack weeds every afternoon. As the hours creep by, I watch the scarred guard's routine. He paces left, then right, occasionally lighting a cigarette. He doesn't stare at me constantly. He's bored, not expecting trouble. Mitch is nowhere to be seen. My heart thrums. Just before shifts end, Scarface steps away to chat with another guard, giving me a precious window. I slip around the orchard's edge, ducking behind some low-hanging branches. Leaves rustle and I hold my breath, praying no one notices. The supply shed stands about 20 feet away, a rusted building overshadowed by a half-dead tree. I inch closer, hugging the orchard's perimeter. At the shed door, I exhale shakily. Mitch stands inside, rummaging through a crate as if looking for tools. Relief floods me. He showed up. A parted wooden panel on the side reveals a gap just big enough for me to slip in. Once inside, the musty smell of fertilizers and rotting hay hits my nose. Mitch glances over, motioning to keep quiet. "You got 5 minutes," he murmurs, voice trembling. "Not 15. I can't risk more." My throat tightens. 5 minutes? That's barely enough, but it has to be. He digs in his pocket and hands me a beat-up cell phone, the battery icon half full. "Signal might be crap. Hurry." With a grateful nod, I punch in 911, my hands shaking so badly I almost drop the phone. It rings once, twice, then a voice. 911 emergency, what's your location? My breath rushes out. Please help me," I hiss, half sobbing. "I'm Trixa Swan. I've been kidnapped, forced into a labor camp. I don't know exactly where, some rural farmland, maybe. It's run by a group that works for Marcus, my father. He's dangerous. They say I'm insane, but I'm not. You have to help me." Static crackles. The operator's tone is clipped. "Ma'am, calm down. Could you provide a city or county name for this camp? Are you in the state? We need specifics to dispatch help." My mind races. I don't know. We get no news. The signs are all removed. It's farmland, a big orchard, and a pig pen. There's barbed wire. Maybe southwestern farmland? Please, just trace this phone call." Suddenly the line crackles again, the operator sounding wary. "Ma'am, you need to give me an address. Without that, I can't. Are you certain you're not in a legitimate rehabilitation facility? Because we've had hoax calls from—" My pulse spikes. "No, this isn't legitimate. They force us to work. They lock us up. Please, you have to believe me. My name is Trixa Swan. I was declared insane, but it's a lie. Check Stone Hospital's records, check." My words tumble in desperation, but the operator's faint sigh chills me. "Miss, we've had multiple false 911 calls from individuals claiming abductions in unknown places. Unless you can produce more detail like a city sign or coordinate, there isn't much we can do. Is there someone I can contact who can verify your story?" I open my mouth to name Jacob Stone or Nyla, but my voice falters. The operator's skepticism seeps through. Time is short. I try again. "Please call Nyla Stone or Derek's with Stone Hospital," I say, tears burning my eyes. "Search Trixa Swan, I swear. Suddenly, the shed door slams open behind me, flooding the space with harsh sunlight. Mitch yelps. My heart jumps into my throat. 2 camp supervisors stand there, one brandishing a baton, the other's face twisted in anger. "You worthless scum," hisses the first. "Stealing phones? Making calls?" The second lunges, yanking the phone from my grasp. The line goes dead, the 911 operator's voice vanishing in a burst of static. My body tenses, mind reeling. I look to Mitch for help, but he's already cowering, arms up defensively, denying any role. Coward. One supervisor, short and stocky, grabs my arm, twisting it behind my back. Pain ignites across my shoulder. "Think you can outsmart us? This ends now." His breath stinks of stale coffee. I bite back a scream as he tightens his grip. I manage to gasp, "Please, wait, He shoves me against the shed wall, eyes blazing. "You just violated every rule. Let's see how you like solitary." With his baton, he jabs me in the ribs, not enough to break bone, but enough to knock the wind out of me. I crumple, tears springing to my eyes from the pain. Mitch tries to slink away, but the short supervisor rounds on him. "You," he snarls. "You gave her that phone, didn't you?" Mitch stutters denials, but the second supervisor, tall and lean, smacks him across the jaw. Mitch collapses, spitting blood on the dirt floor. My heart spasms with guilt, but I can't do anything except wheeze on my knees. Panting, I try to protest. "It was all me," I lie. He had no part." Another baton jab to my ribs stops my words. "Shut up." The tall supervisor points at Mitch. "You report to the warden after you drop this piece of trash off in solitary. Let the warden decide your punishment." Mitch groans, tears in his eyes. He glances at me once, regret shining, then looks away. He's equally trapped. They haul me upright, my left shoulder throbbing from the angle of their grip. Any illusions of a second phone call vanish. My legs shake as they march me out of the shed, across the orchard. The sun is setting now, painting the horizon in fiery orange, an image that would be beautiful under normal circumstances. Instead, it feels like the sky is mocking my failure. The phone call was my last, best hope. The operator didn't believe me. Or if she did, she had nothing to act on. Every step is agony, but I cling to a shred of dignity. "Derek." I whisper in my head. "Nyla, I tried, but they beat me to it." The orchard's dust swirls around my ankles as we pass other prisoners heading back for the evening meal. Some stare, pity in their eyes. Others look away, not wanting trouble. Everyone knows the penalty for stepping in. We cross into a block of squat buildings lined up like cheap motels. Each is used for special discipline. My pulse spikes. I've only seen the inside of solitary, once an empty, dank cell with a single slop bucket and no ventilation. People come out after days or weeks, half delirious. Some never come out. At the iron door, the short supervisor opens it. "Warden wants to see her first," he mutters to the tall one. With a curt nod, they drag me further down a hallway that smells of mildew and fear. My stomach twists. I've never met the warden personally, just glimpsed him from afar. He's rumored to be worse than any guard, with a sadistic streak that ensures no prisoner challenges him more than once. My heart gallops. We stop at a nondescript door. The tall supervisor knocks. A gravelly voice from within says, "Enter." They push me inside. The office is small, walls adorned with motivational posters twisted into a mockery of kindness. A desk lamp casts harsh shadows on a man's face. The warden, stocky, middle-aged, eyes cold as stone. He sets down a half-finished cigar, leaning forward. "So," he begins, voice low, "you thought you'd call for help? Who exactly did you think would save you?" He gestures for the supervisors to throw me to my knees in front of his desk. I swallow thickly. My mouth feels lined with sawdust. "Let me go," I croak. "I'm innocent. I was declared insane by—" He snorts. "We know all about your father's orders. Here you have no name, only a job. The minute you try stunts like this, you forfeit your small privileges." Standing, he rounds the desk, looming over me. "I could extend your sentence, push your therapy regime, or—" His gaze flicks to the baton on the short supervisor's belt. We can do something more immediate. My veins turn to ice. He steps away, pacing as though considering. Next time, he says quietly, I won't be so lenient. But you do need a reminder not to cross us. A little demonstration of consequence. He gestures to the supervisors. Take her, give her a taste of discipline. Keep it short. I want her back at work in 2 days. She's more valuable in the fields than in a hospital bed. My stomach sinks. 2 days means whatever beating they dish out won't kill me, but it sure won't be mild. Tears threaten again, but I clench my jaw. Crying in front of the warden only feeds his control. He flicks a dismissive hand. Go. They yank me up. I catch a final glimpse of the warden resuming his seat, stubbing out his cigar. I'm dragged into the corridor. My heart slams so hard I taste bile. I think of Derek, of Nyla, of her baby. I cling to that possibility. The phone call fiasco replays in my mind. I tried. The 911 operator's dismissal rings in my ears. They didn't believe me. No one believes me. My father won, or so it seems. We pass a row of locked cells. Screams echo from behind one door. I nearly retch at the thought. Eventually, they shove me into a small side room. The short supervisor snarls, You brought this on yourself. I brace for impact as he raises the baton. Pain explodes in my side, my vision swimming with dark spots. I don't know how many blows follow, some to my back, a kick to my thigh, another to my ribcage. Each one rips a ragged cry from my lungs. I taste blood on my lip where I bite down to keep from screaming too loud. Over it all, the tall supervisor's voice growls threats. If I ever try another call, if I ever mention Marcus, they'll teach me the meaning of pain. When it's over, they dump me on the floor, body shaking. Sweat and tears mix on my face. My mind reels, fighting unconsciousness. The short one kneels, breathing hot in my ear. You'll spend the night in solitary. That'll help you remember. He laughs, stepping back. Then back to work. I muster no reply, just a trembling breath. Another guard arrives, someone I don't recognize, hoists me under the arms and drags me down more corridors. Doors clang. Finally, I'm dumped onto a cold, concrete floor in a tiny cell with no light. My head throbs. Everything's a swirl of agony. The door slams, the lock clicks, leaving me alone in the pitch black. Air comes in short gasps. My shoulder pulses, my ribs ache, but the emotional pain dwarfs it all. My phone call failed. The last shred of hope. Gone. Tears leak down my cheeks, unstoppable now. Help. I beg, my tears nonstop. The cell is stifling. No windows, no hint of the outside world. I press a hand to my side, wincing at the bruises forming. If the warden deems me still functional, I'll be forced back to labor in 2 days. And who knows how many other chances to escape I'll get. They'll watch me closer now, and Mitch is likely to vanish or face equal punishment for aiding me. A whimper escapes my throat, half desperate, half rage. Marcus caused this. He turned my world upside down, declared me insane, locked me away. Nyla and Jacob must be dealing with her situation too. Is she still pregnant? Did her evidence even work? I hope so. If she's free, maybe she can figure out where I am. A hollow laugh rattles in my chest. Maybe that's the faintest chance, that someone out there, maybe Derek if he's alive, or Jacob, or even Alexander is searching. But each day that passes, it's harder to believe. I let my head fall back against the wall, wincing at the throbbing behind my skull. The darkness presses in, as though this place devours light. My breath echoes in the small space. After what feels like hours, or maybe minutes, impossible to tell time here, the cell door rattles. I tense, expecting more blows. Instead, a quiet voice says, Warden said to let her stew. Check her in the morning. Then footsteps recede. The door remains locked, darkness absolute. My entire being trembles, excruciating pain radiating from each bruise. But at least no more fists come crashing down, for now. My mind drifts. Thoughts of freedom flicker like tiny sparks. If I ever get out, I'll make sure the world knows what Marcus has done. I'll warn them about these labor camps. Even as exhaustion seeps in, I cling to that fantasy. Because if I let it go, this place will devour me whole. Minutes bleed into hours. The night is a black void, broken only by the taste of blood on my lip and the dull throbbing in every muscle. Finally, I allow sleep to claim me, or something close to it. Fitful dozing, plagued by dreams of Derek lying motionless in a hospital bed, arms cold, while I scream for help that never comes. I dream of Nyla bleeding out. I wake with a jolt at some point, sobbing softly in the pitch dark, remembering the phone call that ended in static and disbelief. The operator's voice echoes, "We can't help you, ma'am." A savage irony. I had my chance and blew it. Outside, in the world of normalcy, the sun might rise soon. Here, no sign of dawn penetrates the cell. My entire future feels as locked away as I am. But one glimmer remains. Survival. I must survive to see Derek, or at least to confirm he's all right. I must see Nyla, see her baby, find out if she overcame Marcus's lies. That's the vow that steadies my breathing. Even if each day is a new circle of hell, I refuse to let them reduce me to a hollow shell.
Chapter 353, Alexander. I stand on the ornate balcony of my estate's second-floor meeting room, scanning the driveway below as a trio of black SUVs glides past the gates. Their tinted windows and uniform shape speak of formality, but beneath that facade lurks old-world intimidation. My chest feels tight with anticipation and a small flicker of dread. The men climbing out are part of a powerful family I need on my side, though I hate every second of the courtship. At the heart of it all is Matilda. She emerges from the second SUV, stepping into the afternoon sun, a swirl of dark curls trailing down her back. In the old days, I might have marveled at her entrance. Now, it feels like my door is about to be battered down by a quiet siege. I force a breath, returning inside to greet them. If we're late in receiving them, they'll interpret it as disrespect. God knows I have enough enemies to handle without alienating a crucial ally, however distasteful the arrangement might be. I move through the open French doors into the meeting chamber. My staff stand at attention, perfectly choreographed. Dmitri, my closest confidant, looms near the interior archway, eyes flicking anxiously to me. He knows exactly what's at stake. These people hold the resources and connections I need to find Lori. My mind flares with her name, a hollow ache in my gut. Weeks have passed since her abduction, and every day feels like another handful of sand slipping through my fingers. I set my jaw. Lori. Focus. This alliance might be the only way I can track her location faster and quell the rebellious underworld factions threatening the Sokolov Empire from within. I hate it, but this is the cost. The double doors swing open as the guests enter. Matilda's father, a short but imposing figure known simply as Mr. Vincenzi, strides forward, face unreadable. He's flanked by two bodyguards in matching suits. Matilda follows behind, wearing a fitted red dress that accentuates her hourglass shape. She looks every inch the sophisticated heiress, though her posture brims with barely concealed excitement. Her gaze locks on me instantly, lips curving in a smile, reminiscent of older times when we... No, don't dwell on that. I step toward them, summoning courtesy. Mr. Vincenzi, I greet with a faint nod. Welcome to my estate. He clasps my offered hand in a firm, almost crushing grip. Alexander, he returns with a clipped grin. We appreciate the invitation. It's been too long since we had a proper meeting, yes? I offer a polite half smile. Too long indeed. Last time he threatened to cut my supply lines if I refused certain demands. Time moves quickly when we keep busy. Before I can elaborate, Matilda glides forward, a swirl of perfume and confidence. "Alexander," she murmurs, leaning to place a brief kiss on my cheek. The gesture is familiar, borderline intimate, but laced with tension. "Missed me?" Her question hovers. My chest tightens with a swirl of old memories. Nights we spent together, and a misguided fling. Illusions of partnership that crashed when I realized her thirst for control rivaled even my uncle's. I force a polite nod. "Matilda, welcome back from abroad." Her dark eyes flicker, searching my face for any sign of longing. I give her none. Meanwhile, Mr. Vincenzi rubs his chin, scanning the lavish decor. "We should talk somewhere comfortable," he declares. I gesture to a wide set of seats arranged near a marble fireplace. The windows let in golden light, highlighting the estate's meticulously polished floors. Dimitri motions for staff to bring refreshments, a tray of fine cognac and an assortment of pastries. Overly polite. I watch Vincenzi sink into a leather armchair, Matilda perched gracefully next to him, crossing her legs. Her father's bodyguards hover at the edges, scanning my own men for any sign of threat. We exchange superficial pleasantries, the typical "how was your flight?" and "I trust the accommodations are adequate." All the while, an undercurrent of tension pulses. I want to skip the formalities and delve straight into the reason I invited them. The Sokolov Empire bleeds from internal rebellion, and I need Vincenzi's formidable connections. But these old players relish their power. If I rush, they sense desperation. So I indulge them. At last, Mr. Vincenzi sets aside his cognac, tapping a thick signet ring on the crystal glass. "We come bearing potential solutions, Alexander," he says. "Your territory is uncertain. The bombing plus the rumors of infiltration. You need a firm hand, yes?" A muscle ticks in my jaw. "Indeed," I reply. "And I hear you have a finger on the pulse of the local underworld. Possibly more than just the local. Your ties span city borders." He inclines his head, neither confirming nor denying. "We can lend men, resources, hush money, or anything else needed to unify your ranks. However," he glances at Matilda, "we also desire something in return." Her father's men stiffen, as if bracing for my reaction. Matilda rests a manicured hand on her father's arm, then turns that same hand to me. "You've heard the rumors about me? That I'm back in the city with new expansions. I plan to open legitimate business branches that can complement your empire. But I prefer to do it with someone I trust at my side." I manage a neutral expression, though my pulse thrums. We've both changed since last we parted ways. Trust might be too strong a word. She gives me an indulgent smile. "We'll start from the beginning. A new arrangement. Or possibly a revived one." Dimitri stands in the corner, face grim as a tombstone. He knows how badly we need them, but also how I recoil from the idea of marriage as a currency. I let the moment stretch, feigning calm. "I appreciate your readiness to negotiate. Let's be direct. I require assistance in quelling certain breakaway factions, as well as finding someone, my friend. She's been abducted. My resources haven't yielded her location. The kidnappers remain a shadowy threat." Matilda arches a brow. "A friend? Female, presumably." I resist a scowl. "Her name is Lori. She matters to me." Mr. Vincenzi snorts softly. "We heard rumors, so you chase a missing woman. Meanwhile, Your empire crumbles. Let me guess. You want our help tracking her, plus the muscle to settle internal disputes. That's correct, I admit, forcing composure. He taps his ring again, a note of finality. In exchange, we want an alliance that cements us to your empire. No more half measures. Marriage between families ensures loyalty. It's how we do business, as you know. My mouth goes dry. And you propose? Matilda leans forward, dark curls sliding over one shoulder. Me, Alexander. We nearly had an engagement once, remember? Now, it can be official. We marry, strengthen both our positions. My father invests in your realm. You gain unstoppable influence. My chest knots. The logic is so cold, so practical. I'm afraid that's not an option. I hesitate, choosing words. Telling them about Laurie's importance is a vulnerability, but they must understand I won't just toss aside my heart. I have priorities. A forced union doesn't help either party in the long run. Mr. Vincenzi's eyes flash. Refusing outright is unwise. We came in good faith. We know your empire's recent stumbles. Word on the street is, many are losing confidence in your leadership. If you want to silence the breakaway group or find your lost friend, you need fresh alliances, new resources. We're your best shot. My jaw clenches. For a moment, I picture Laurie's face. Soft laughter, unwavering support. She's out there, possibly in chains, while I weigh a loveless marriage to save her. The injustice grates at my soul, but it might be the only path. Let's not rush, I say carefully. This is a complex arrangement. I must gather more details. Matilda's eyes narrow, disappointment flickering. You'd gather details while your men starve for leadership? We can't wait forever. Perhaps I should direct my father's generosity to other families more willing to compromise. I sense Dimitri's shift, probably fighting the urge to protest. I hold up a hand to forestall tension. We can discuss the specifics, I say, voice taut. I'm not dismissing it, merely asking for time to weigh all angles. Any alliance so permanent deserves caution. Matilda's father exchanges a glance with her, then shrugs. Fine, but not too long. We have many suitors for my daughter's hand, men who'd jump at our connections. You're not the only fish in the sea, as they say. That stings my pride, but I force an amicable nod. Understood. In the silence that follows, I pour another round of cognac for them. Mr. Vincenzi lifts his glass, swirling the amber liquid. We'll stay in town for a few days. My men will also see how your domain is faring. After that, we expect an answer. Matilda rises, smoothing her red dress. Before we leave, though, I want a personal demonstration of your commitment. She glances at me with a mischievous spark. Spend the day, or rather, the next 24 hours, by my side. Show me I'm not wasting my time. Let's start with something simple, an event. Perhaps an art exhibit I'm hosting tonight. Then tomorrow we can do a round of golf. You do golf, Alexander. I swallow a groan. I despise these social niceties, but refusing might unravel the entire negotiation. Yes, I manage. I can golf. Perfect, she purrs. Then it's settled. Come with me tonight. Wear something dashing. Help me pick an outfit. We'll show our synergy in the social circuit. I grit my teeth behind a polite smile. Of course. Her father smirks, apparently satisfied. Matilda, you handle the details. We'll see if Alexander truly wants our backing. With that, we exchange stiff farewells, each side calculating the other. They leave for their arranged guest suites or hotels, accompanied by my staff. Dmitri lingers after them, exhaling hard once they're gone. "Are you sure about this?" he asks under his breath. "They're twisting your arm, and we still have no guarantee they can locate Lori." I rub my temples. I'm not sure of anything, but we're running out of time. My mind conjures Lori's image, her bright eyes, the concern in her voice whenever I returned from a dangerous job. If this can accelerate leads, help me track her. I'll endure their demands for now. Dimitri's expression darkens, but he nods. We do what we must. I stand beside Matilda in front of a gilded mirror in her private suite at some posh hotel. She insisted I meet her here to help choose her dress, as though my input matters. The room bursts with racks of designer gowns and shimmering silk, yards of tulle and lace. My patience thins with each passing minute. She holds up a strapless gold dress against her frame. "Too flashy?" she asks, glancing at me. "It's fine," I say, tone clipped. "Anything you pick will look fine." Matilda lets out a tinkling laugh. "Alexander, you're the one who needs my father's help. At least, pretend to care." She sets the gold aside, grabbing a sleek midnight blue gown. "Or is your mind somewhere else? Perhaps on your missing friend?" I grit my teeth. If you insist on involving me, I can't guarantee my interest in color palettes. Wear the blue one. It suits your complexion. She arches an eyebrow, then nods, handing the dress to her personal assistant. "Blue it is. Now, do be patient. I'll be ready soon. We'll show up at the exhibit together, publicly united." I force a tight smile. "Right." She disappears behind a folding screen to change. I lean against a console table, scanning the hotel suite's decor. Over the last hour, we've bantered about the event, the guest list, some high society art collectors, a few underworld figures who dabble in legitimate gallery dealings. I find it all tedious. My heart weighs heavily with the knowledge that each forced social appearance might buy me closer ties to Vincenzi's resources. All for Lori. I shut my eyes, recalling her laughter. "Hang on, Lori, please." Matilda reemerges in the midnight blue gown, and it fits her like a glove. She does look stunning. Once, that might have mattered to me. Now I feel only emptiness. Her assistant zips her up, fussing with the train. Matilda turns a slow circle, seeking my approval. I nod mechanically. "Grab your jacket, darling," she says, an edge of triumph in her tone. We have an audience waiting. We arrive at the art gallery in one of Vincenzi's limousines. Photographers snap pictures outside, bright flashes cutting the night. It's an exclusive event, well attended by city elites. The building stands lit by subtle gold spotlights, the interior glowing through tall windows. A hush of hush money, if you will. These are people who know how to keep secrets while sipping champagne. Matilda loops her arm through mine. "Smile," she murmurs as we exit the limo. "We want them to see us in sync." The paparazzi calls intensify. "Matilda, over here! Who's your handsome companion?" She answers with a coy tilt of her head, but I can't muster more than a stiff grin. This charade is nauseating. We make our way inside, weaving past curated sculptures and abstract paintings. Soft classical music plays, guests milling about with crystal flutes of champagne. The air hums with polite conversation, As we stand in the main gallery, a hush spreads. People notice us. Matilda Vincenzi, the returning socialite, and Alexander Sokolov, rumored to be forging a new alliance. Whispers swirl. Are they a couple again? Is this an engagement soon to be announced? My skin crawls, but I maintain a polite facade. Matilda drifts from one group to another, introducing me. I force small talk, my gaze occasionally flicking to the corners of the room. No sign of out-of-place men in black who might pass a lead about Lori. No glimmer of anything relevant to my real concerns. This is purely show. At one point, Matilda corners me by an ornate sculpture of a swan carved from white stone. Fitting. My mind again leaps to Lori's last name, Swan. A twinge of pain. Now, dear, Matilda says in a playful lilt, the local press might approach us soon. Perhaps you'd like to confirm we're spending more time together? I exhale. Stop pushing so fast. I told you I need time. She rests a hand on my chest, far too intimate for my liking. Your time is a luxury you may not have. My father doesn't appreciate dithering. Her voice dips, turning sweetly poisonous. But if you want that help for your missing woman, we need to appear committed. A swirl of anger flares in my gut. You think I won't remember that hostage you hold over me? I manage through clenched teeth. I'm not dallying. I'm simply maintaining diplomacy. She arches an amused brow. Diplomacy, yes. That's how you spin it. Then her demeanor brightens as a group of onlookers approach. She turns, plastering on a radiant smile. I endure another half hour of inane conversation with local moguls praising the displayed art. My mind drifts repeatedly. Is this worth it? Each polite laugh I feign feels like a betrayal to Lori. She might be in chains somewhere, while I make small talk about brushstrokes. Finally, the gallery event concludes. Matilda begs me to accompany her to a late dinner, but I claim pressing matters. She pouts but relents, reminding me of tomorrow's golf outing. I simply nod, too weary to protest. The next day dawns bright. We gather at an exclusive golf club, nestled in rolling hills. Perfectly manicured greens, caddies waiting with eager servility, a hush of wealth in the air. I arrive at the driving range early, scowling at the clubs lined up in a golf cart. I was never a big fan of golf. Too slow, too concerned with appearances. But I have no choice. Matilda arrives with a flourish, wearing a stylish golf ensemble that hugs her figure. She waves cheerily, ignoring my stiff nod. Her father stands by a sand trap with a couple of other men, all engaged in subdued conversation about city expansions and business merges. Ties to the underworld are never spelled out, but the undertone is clear. I pick a club, take a practice swing. My arms burn with tension. The rest of our party is Matilda's father's entourage. They watch with mild interest as Matilda lines up for the first hole. The sun's already hot overhead. I wipe sweat from my brow, forced to carry on the charade. Halfway through the game, Matilda trouncing me with suspicious ease, I sense a disturbance behind the row of caddies. I glance up to see Jacob Stone striding across the edge of the fairway, an incredulous look on his face. My throat tightens. Jacob here. He crosses into our green space, ignoring the caddies telling him to keep clear. I set my club aside and march over to intercept him before he bursts into the middle of this uneasy alliance. Jacob? I ask quietly, half daring him not to cause a scene. What are you doing here? He scowls, gaze flicking to Matilda, then me. I'm meeting an investor for Stone Hospital in the same club. We booked the back half of the course, but never mind that. Alexander, what the hell are you doing? I stiffen, feeling the eyes of Matilda's father drifting our way. Keep your voice down, I hiss. He steps closer, dropping his tone but no less furious. We've all been busting our asses searching for Lori. You claim to be leading an underworld empire, yet you're out here playing golf with some socialite. So it's true. You're hooking up with a new woman while Lori's missing? My stomach twists. It's not like that. I need her father's resources to get leads on Lori. I'm forced to go through these motions. Don't jump to conclusions. Jacob shakes his head. You look pretty comfortable to me, laughing and strolling around a golf course. Nyla's stressed to the point of tears, worried sick about Lori. Meanwhile, you're courting this woman? My voice turns sharp, frustration spiking. I hate every second of this, but do you realize how crippled my empire is? The men turning traitor, infiltration we suspect kidnapped her. Vincenzi can help. It's a devil's bargain. Jacob scowls. You might be playing a game too dangerous to handle. If you slip up, Lori pays the price. Or you do. I rub my forehead, the headache pounding. I know, but it's my best shot right now. Once I secure Vincenzi's backing, I can track the group that took her. If you have a better plan, share it. Otherwise, don't come judging me in front of them. He looks unconvinced, anger simmering in his eyes. Fine, but Nyla doesn't need more heartbreak. If she finds out you're prancing around with this woman, it'll stress her beyond measure. Think about someone else for once. Something about his words pricks deep. I'm doing this for someone else, I snap, fury overshadowing guilt. For Lori, just because you don't see me crying doesn't mean I'm not tearing apart inside. Jacob exhales, reining in his temper. A tense beat passes. Look, we're pushing every lead we have, but it's slow. If you're sure this arrangement with Matilda's father can speed it up, fine. Just watch your back. I won't let Nyla handle more betrayal or false hope. I meet his gaze, swallowing a retort. I understand. Thank you for your concern. He nods, glances again at Matilda's group, and then steps back. I have to see my investor. Good luck. His voice drips with skepticism, as if he doubts I'll find a moral path out of this tangle. I watch him stride off, dread curdling in my stomach. No matter how I spin it, I look like a fool or a traitor, but if it leads me to Lori, I'll endure the shame. Matilda calls my name from the next hole, beckoning me over with a saccharine grin. The father stands near her, arms folded, an expectant glint in his eyes. I sigh, forcing a calm expression, and move to rejoin them. The day stretches on in a haze of forced politeness. We swing clubs, exchange mild banter. At times, Matilda loops an arm through mine, adjusting my stance with mock flirtation. I cringe inside, but play along, each moment a performance for her father. If I can glean just one valuable lead from them, it might be worth it. When the final hole is done, we gather at the club's breezy outdoor lounge. Mr. Vincenzi shares some cryptic remarks about nipping your traitors in the bud and pulling strings in the South. My pulse leaps at the hint that he might have intelligence on new faces in the underworld. I try pressing for specifics, but he waves a dismissive hand, claiming we'll talk once we finalize certain personal obligations. The meaning is clear. Exhausted, I endure a few more minutes of small talk, shaking hands, bowing to courtesy. At last, the day's charade ends. Matilda hugs me in full view of her father. I stifle a shudder, returning a wooden embrace. The father's expression is guarded, yet satisfied, as if the seeds of an engagement are sprouting before his eyes. They climb into their SUV, tinted windows rolling up. The entire entourage speeds off, leaving me in the lounge's parking area. I stand there, shoulders knotted, golf club still in my hand. A wave of tired loathing washes over me. The illusions, the petty laughter, the staged flirtations, it all weighs like a stone around my neck. Dmitri steps up quietly, carrying my jacket. That looked painful, he mutters. I exhale a mirthless laugh. It was, but I gleaned a half-promise from Vincenzi. Next time we meet, he'll consider giving me a location, or at least suspect names tied to certain kidnappings. My voice darkens. No guarantee, though, unless I do something about Matilda. Dimitri's face reflects the same distaste I feel. And you truly want to proceed with that? No, I snap, then soften. But I might have to pretend until I secure those leads. Time is running out. Laurie's out there, and with each day, more men question my authority. If I don't clamp down soon, the entire Sokolov empire fractures. He nods, lowering his gaze. Understood. So what now? I sigh, dragging a hand through my hair. Now, I go home. Call you if anything arises. Keep poking around for data on that hidden faction. We must find their base or any rumored sightings of a captive woman. Dmitri acknowledges with a tight nod and heads off to coordinate. I'm left alone, gripping the golf club like a sword that fought no real battle. My eyes drift across the course, where a few leftover players finish their last swings. Jacob is nowhere in sight, likely departed with his hospital investor. Tension from our earlier clash still gnaws at me. I can't blame him for doubting me. The entire situation looks damning. I return to my own SUV, the driver pulling away from the golf club. The ride back to the estate is silent, city lights flickering past as dusk gathers. Eventually, the estate's gates swing open. The vehicle glides along the driveway, flanked by marble statues and meticulously trimmed hedges. Once inside, I drag myself out of the SUV, ignoring staff greetings. The grand foyer feels stifling, the opulence mocking my emptiness. I retreat to my private study, slumping into a leather armchair. The walls here are lined with books, the air tinged with old paper and faint cigar smoke. Memories swirl of nights spent planning expansions with Laurie, giving me cautionary advice, her nurse's empathy often tempering my more ruthless instincts. Don't break yourself in the process, she'd once said, with a teasing half-smile. My chest twists painfully. I'd do anything to have her here, scolding me for risking my soul with this forced alliance. The phone on my desk draws my gaze. I snatch it up, dialing Dimitri's number. He answers on the second ring. Yes, boss. Any progress from the team? Any new intel about Laurie or the rumored infiltration? A pause, then Dmitri sighs. Nothing substantial. We're digging through rumor mills and paying bribes, but everything leads to dead ends. I'm sorry. I close my eyes, frustration burning. Damn it. Keep pushing. Find me something. She's out there. I know it. He murmurs an acknowledgement before I hang up, the tension piling in my shoulders. The study's silence weighs heavier now. Leaning back, I rub my temples. My day was spent trailing after Matilda, half flirting for show, forcing laughter at her father's jokes, all for a paltry promise that might or might not help me locate Laurie. And in the background, the empire teeters. Rebellious men question why I'm prancing around with Vincenzi's daughter instead of cracking skulls. With a groan, I stand and pace, pushing aside a half-finished whiskey from last night. My reflection in the window is a man drained, shirt wrinkled, tie loosened, eyes ringed with fatigue. Where are you, Laurie? The question stabs me anew. A part of me fears she's given up or been harmed beyond rescue. Number, I can't let that darkness win. I swirl to face the door, fists clenching. No solutions present themselves, just the quiet hush of the mansion's corridors. The staff knows not to disturb me. I picture Laurie's kidnapping, merges into the image of the bombed safe house, Ivan's kidnapping, internal betrayals. My uncle's half-lucid warnings about a bigger demon. I bury my face in my hands, exhaling shakily. Minutes pass, or perhaps an hour. Time drifts in the study, my mind juggling strategies for how to appease Matilda's father short of wedding vows. Could I propose a formal engagement with no set date? Matilda might be cunning enough to push for a date anyway. My stomach churns at the thought of a wedding that cements me in a loveless bond while Laurie is lost. Eventually, a short rap on the door. Dimitri peeks in, eyes worried. I wanted to see if you need anything. Food, a rest. I wave him off. No appetite. Just exhausted. My voice cracks. I might turn in soon, though sleep is an illusion. He nods, shutting the door softly behind him. The hush returns. I approach the window, staring at the estate grounds illuminated by pale moonlight. The fountain in the courtyard glimmers, water splashing softly. Over it all, an uneasy sense of unraveling. If tomorrow yields no results, I'll inch closer to that wedding. I snarl under my breath, hating the reality. At length, I flick off the overhead lights, letting the silvery glow envelop the study. The phone sits on the desk, silent and mocking. I pick it up again, scrolling for any missed messages. None. Sighing, I slip it into my jacket pocket. Stepping out, I head upstairs to my private suite. The hallway lamps cast a subdued warmth on the plush carpeting. My footsteps echo with a lonely resonance. Entering my suite, I lock the door behind me, leaning against the wood. Laurie's absence gnaws at me. This place once felt so grand, a statement of power. Now it's a hollow cage of guilt and longing. I shrug off my jacket, toss it across a chair. One more day gone. One more day I can't find her. The memory of her smile hits me with sudden force. My throat constricts. I avoided her, and a wave of self-loathing courses through me. I collapse onto the bed, shoes still on. Stare up at the ceiling's ornate molding. The day's events swirl. Forced politeness with Matilda. A brief confrontation with Jacob. The harrowing emptiness after. Under that swirl lies a single truth. I can't continue this facade forever. If Vincenzi fails to produce real leads soon, I might have to seize a more violent approach or risk losing everything, including the last scraps of my soul. Dimitri's voice echoes. No progress. Jacob's condemnation. Stop faking around with this woman. Laurie's missing. Matilda's demand. Marry me. Unify our families. A strangled laugh escapes me. Half madness. This is not how I pictured saving Lori, dancing with devils in plain sight. Yet I see no other path. After minutes of motionless pondering, I fish out my phone again, thinking maybe I'll text Dimitri to recheck certain leads, but I realize it's nearly midnight. Another day wasted. Instead, I forcibly close my eyes, letting exhaustion drag me down. My final conscious thought: hold on, Lori. I'm crawling through the dark for you. Somehow I'll find the light.